Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is story about what if Naruto learns the truth about his heritage part 1. Before I start, please do support for more amazing content and comments for part 2. Do consider to subscribe my channel and share my video to your friends and check out the description as well. Let's start the video. -6 years after the Kyuubi's attack, inside an office. A figure sat at his desk, before flipping open a multi-page report. October 10th, Naruto's age, 1. Many children come about unique in appearance, especially in a shinobi village. In Konoha, no toddler was more telling of this fact than Naruto Uzumaki, son of Konoha's late 4th Hokage, Minato Namikaze, a man known to outsiders as the Yellow Flash, while known locally as the man who followed in Orochimaru's footsteps, and the Hokage who proposed the eugenics program as a solution to the shortage of skilled shinobi. When it comes to appearance, there are several glaring abnormalities concerning Naruto's appearance. He was a tiny child, one who had short, spiky blonde hair covering his scalp. That much was normal. Curiously, however, Naruto had several features unique to himself. He possessed a set of whisker-like markings on each cheek, likely attributed to Naruto's housing of the Kyuubi within himself. Besides that, Naruto possessed fawn-like canine teeth, with a pair of slightly longer ears, most likely due to Minato's constant experimentations upon himself. While not affecting his anatomy, the foreign blood and genetic code would likely have passed down through the two's shared blood. One could only wonder, behind those closed eyes, what was this blonde toddler thinking? October 10th, Naruto's age, 3. Naruto is developing well. He has grown up to be physically healthy and can comprehend certain books. Worryingly, however, he has yet to speak. While running across a field, Naruto reportedly fell a considerable height, before standing up again and continuing his run. On a visit to the hospital, an extraordinary discovery was made. Naruto's bones were far from normal, with them being at least 5 times as dense as the bones of others his age, while the bones themselves still retained the same weight. When questioned about how he felt, Naruto persisted in his refusal to speak. October 10th, Naruto's age, 5. It's Naruto's 5th birthday today, as well as his 2nd year in the orphanage. It was reported that he remains silent when he isn't required to speak. Besides his social situation, Naruto has shown great interest in the subjects of biology, chemistry, physics, and history, and has shown great intelligence despite his closed-off nature. In all regards, it is best for us all for Naruto to not develop into the kind of person his father had once been. The figure closed the book, before placing it on the desk. He looked out of the window, taking account of the downpour which had just begun, before standing up to leave his office, smoking through his pipe as he shut the door behind him. October 10th, 6 years after the Kyuubi's attack. As the great rainfall continued outside his window, Naruto sat at his desk as he flipped through a thick book regarding the anatomies of several animals, reading each page with intense focus. Before he had been able to continue reading through the book, Naruto had been able to hear several footsteps as they creaked up the wooden staircase of the orphanage. "Is this his room?" an old, gruff voice said from the other side of the door to his room. "It is," came the voice of the matron of the orphanage. The rain came to a halt, as the door slowly opened from the outside, before both the matron and the 3rd Hokage, Hiruzen Sarutobi, walked into the room. "Could you leave the two of us alone?" Hiruzen requested. "Of course, Hokage-sama," the matron replied. "Be aware, however, that he does not respond via speech often." The matron walked out of the room, closing the door behind her. Hiruzen walked towards Naruto's desk, before greeting the boy. "Hello, I assume your name is Naruto Uzumaki?" Naruto did not answer, as he flipped a page in his book, scribbling notes in his notebook throughout. "May I have a look?" Hiruzen requested, giving a soft smile. Showing slight bits of hesitation, Naruto cleared his throat, before finally speaking up. "My apologies, Hokage-sama, but could I finish writing my idea first?" "Of course, Naruto. Take your time," Hiruzen assured. He clearly keeps to himself, and only speaks when he needs to. Minutes later, Naruto passed the notebook to Hiruzen, who curiously flipped through the pages. "Incredible," Hiruzen mentally remarked as he fell into a slight trance in sheer amazement, clearly impressed by Naruto's writings. Before long, a certain page caught his eye. Hiruzen tapped Naruto's shoulder, causing the blonde to turn around. "Did you come up with this?" Hiruzen asked, pointing at several chemical formulas. "I did," Naruto replied, clearly not particularly comfortable with speaking. "He's gonna think I'm weird, just like how the kids and the caretakers think I am, isn't he?" "This is brilliant," Hiruzen declared, shocking Naruto. "You should continue developing this one, you might just come up with a massive breakthrough." Naruto said nothing, continuing to read through his book. Why do you have such a fascination with science? Hiruzen questioned. As if reading from the book itself, Naruto formulated his answer. The purpose of science is to explain and understand the natural world. The purpose of biology is to understand the nature of all living things. The purpose of chemistry is for one to understand how the elements of the periodic table react with each other, and the properties of the compounds. Naruto began to say, only for Hiruzen to cut him off. That's the book's explanation. What's yours? Hiruzen asked. To become better? Naruto rhetorically asked. It's more of me being inspired by a singular person, a singular entity. And that person is? Hiruzen asked. The fourth Hokage, Minato Namikaze, Naruto replied, all to Hiruzen's dismay. Most of all, I was inspired by his studies into chemistry. Not good, Hiruzen thought, before turning to Naruto, who faced his book throughout the entire conversation. Do you know of his more unethical ideas? Unethical? That's up to debate, but yes, I do know of his eugenics project, Naruto replied. It was most fascinating, albeit, it does sound rather bland. The systemic breeding of the best people would eliminate everything unique about humanity. Something's wrong, Hiruzen thought. Most kids his age don't just sit alone in their room, completely closed off to the world. He reminds me of. Hiruzen walked to the side of Naruto's desk, before looking at Naruto's face. Hiruzen's eyes widened. He saw it, he saw him. Naruto looked up at Hiruzen, whose eyes saw something different. Behind that pair of lifeless eyes, an emotionless facial expression, Hiruzen could see the specter of Orochimaru hanging behind Naruto, one that had haunted him for the last 20 years of his life. Naruto, do you like living here? Hiruzen asked. Naruto looked at the old man for a few seconds before turning back to his book. None one here appreciates me for who I am. The kids my age always push me around, they call me a freak, they say I'm destined to be alone, the best ones are indifferent to me. When the boys kick me or punch me, or even beat me over the head with sticks and pipes, the matrons do nothing. The wounds heal all the same, yes, but what changes? Hiruzen's features darkened, before standing up to leave. Excuse me for a moment, Naruto, I'll be back in a moment. Hokage-sama, Naruto spoke up, I need to get something from downstairs. Without waiting for Hiruzen's reply, Naruto left the room, before running down the stairs and towards a closed door. Cautiously, Naruto opened the door before walking into the room. Before he was able to take any further steps, a thunderous crack could be heard as a lead pipe was brought down on the back of Naruto's head, knocking him to the ground. Knew he would be here today, a boy said, kicking the down Naruto in the face, causing the blonde to cough up blood. How's it going, freak? Another boy asked, bringing his pipe down over Naruto's back. Still refused to talk? Naruto remained silent, not even bothering to get to his feet. Don't worry, the first boy stated, withdrawing the knife, causing Naruto's eyes to widen. We'll see if this makes you click. Before Naruto was able to do anything, the second boy smashed his pipe into Naruto's head, knocking him unconscious. Naruto's mindscape. Pain. That was all he felt. Naruto felt himself lying in a pool of something, a liquid. Is this my blood? Naruto thought, placing his hand on the ground, before lifting it into view. It's transparent? Naruto looked around, before noticing the change in his environment. Instead of him lying in a pool of blood within a dingy room in the old and decrepit orphanage, Naruto now found himself in a sewer-like environment, one which had large cage-like bars in front of him. No longer feeling the pain of the attack, Naruto slowly crawled to his feet, before approaching the large metal bars. What is this? Naruto asked himself. It's as if something was meant to be contained here. As if on cue, a large shadow approached the cage, before lunging into view, slamming its large claws into the bars, surprising Naruto. The Kyuubi showed its face, revealing its ferocious, red eyes, before roaring at Naruto. The Kyuubi fell silent, slightly confused at Naruto's unflinching nature. Fascinating, Naruto thought, looking at the large beast, who returned his stare. Finally my jailer comes to meet me, the Kyuubi began to say, to what do I owe this honor? Jailer? Naruto asked back, barely any emotion in his voice. I know nothing of that part, but as to why I'm here, I guess an attempt on my life is to blame. The Kyuubi's eyes widened, before leaning in closer to Naruto. Do you not fear me? What's there to fear? Naruto asked back. If anything, I find myself more comfortable conversing with you. You are one of few beings that I've held a conversation with for this length of time. The Kyuubi blinked. Does this form not terrify you? It does not in the slightest. Although Naruto began to reply, it does feel unnatural to speak to a large fox. In that case, you must promise me to never tell anyone of this form of mine, the Kyuubi requested. Is that alright? Would that make you feel more comfortable? Naruto nodded before the Kyuubi vanished into a cloud of white smoke. The smoke cleared after a few seconds, just as Naruto laid eyes on the far smaller figure that stood before him. Standing before him was no longer the Kyuubi, but a young woman dressed in a loose red kimono, a kimono which barely obscured her gorgeous figure. The woman possessed long, black hair, while still retaining the characteristic 9 tails flowing behind her. Are you usually this quiet? The Kyuubi asked, this time in a rather feminine voice. I don't enjoy talking, Naruto began. I'd much rather spend time alone, reading books regarding science. Are you currently wondering why you're here now? The Kyuubi asked once more. In regards to historical precedents, I assume you're currently sealed within me, Naruto replied, and judging from the types of attacks I had suffered earlier, I'm currently unconscious, hence why I'm talking to you. More specifically speaking, we're currently inside your mindscape, the Kyuubi explained, although, you're not just unconscious right now, you're near death. Naruto's eyes widened, clearly alarmed by this information, and the Kyuubi could sense it too. This feeling, what is it? Naruto questioned. I feel my heart beating as if I had just run 5 marathons, I feel myself sweating more, my stomach has a strange sensation, I'm breathing quicker. This, Naruto-kun, is fear, the Kyuubi stated. You're scared, terrified, frightened, all at the prospect of your life coming to an end, the Kyuubi explained, but one has to imagine, has Naruto-kun never felt fear before this? Fear? What is that? Naruto asked. Is it like how I don't like some of the boys in the orphanage? Now's not the time. The Kyuubi suddenly snapped. You see that seal there? The Kyuubi questioned, pointing towards a paper seal. Do I tear the entire thing off? Naruto asked. No. The Kyuubi roared, it will kill you. Just tear a small bit off. Hesitating, Naruto nodded before walking towards the seal. With a firm ripping noise, Naruto tore a tiny piece of the seal off, a piece tinier than his thumb. That'll only get you so far, the Kyuubi stated, you won't heal just from that. I won't, but it will keep me alive, Naruto suddenly stated, cutting off the Kyuubi. I want answers, mainly what's wrong with me? What? The Kyuubi asked in confusion. With my anatomy. It is not normal for any person, let alone a boy, to be hit many times over the head by a lead pipe, yet remain alive. Any normal person would have suffered concussions or broken bones at that point, Naruto explained. I want to know why. The Kyuubi said nothing at first, clearly hesitating. Please? Naruto pleaded, I just want to know. There is no easy answer for this, the Kyuubi explained. You want the good part first or the bad part? Give me the bad part first, Naruto requested. Your blood is tainted, Naruto-kun, the Kyuubi began to say, it is impure, and it is diluted. Your veins do not just course with your parents' blood, your veins are coursed by the blood of many family lines, many bloodlines if you will. Naruto paused, attempting to wrap his brain around the newly received information. Who were my parents? That's the good part, or well, the worst part, depending on how you see it, the Kyuubi explained. You possess a legendary lineage, one that promises great power and longevity, but one that might cause you great pain, great suffering, a great sense of guilt. Guilt towards something you never did. Who were my parents? Naruto asked once more. Your mother was a good woman, a kind woman. She was my former hostess, a truly loving person. The Kyuubi continued to explain. She possessed chilly red hair and was known to the shinobi world as the Kyuubi attempted to be continued, only to be cut off by an irate Naruto. Enough! Naruto yelled out in rage, before immediately composing himself, and falling to his knees, with tears streaming down his face. Please just tell me who are my parents. Perhaps came the loving voice of a woman, as Naruto felt a comforting hand being placed on his shoulder. Naruto looked up, before facing a red-headed woman with violet-colored eyes. Perhaps I can provide a satisfactory answer, Masuko. Kushina, the Kyuubi muttered, her voice trembling and cracking, as drops of tears fell to the ground. Without further speech, Naruto jumped up, before hugging Kushina's feet. Kushina smiled, before ruffling Naruto's hair, as she felt her blouse slowly becoming wet. Kushina broke up Naruto's tight grip over her legs, before crouching down to his level, cupping his face with her right hand. Naruto, Kushina began to say, looking at Naruto's teeth and gently touching the blonde's long ears. What has Minato done to you? Minato? Naruto questioned, the fourth Hokage? The Yellow Flash? The butcher? Yes, he was your father, Kushina explained, a man who constantly drew the line between insanity and genius. Some of the things he did there was no question that they were terrible, but his actions and ideas did stem from a good heart, albeit one that had cracked under the scars of war. Is that his justification? Or is it his defense? Naruto questioned. It's either, it's my attempted explanation, Kushina explained, as her left arm began to disperse. Kao-san, what's happening? Naruto asked, secretly already understanding what is happening, a tear slipping from the edge of his pupil. I don't have much longer left, Kushina stated. I'm sorry, Naruto. I'm sorry for the genetic situation you were born into. I'm sorry for the great burden you have inherited. I'm sorry for all the beatings you have suffered because of that burden. I'm sorry, truly sorry, for not being there for you when you needed it the most. Kushina touched Naruto's face one last time, before turning around. There's nothing wrong if you stay closed off like this, but there are times where you just won't be able to do things alone. You must learn to trust, to befriend, to love. Naruto began to fully tear up, his feeble attempts to stop the tears all failing. You are the last son of two families, while still holding the blood of many other bloodlines, Kushina explained, her lower half fading from sight. I will not urge you to do anything you don't want to, but I do hope you marry someone eventually. Who knows? Maybe you'll charm more than one, perhaps you might even be able to tame the great Kyuubi. Hey! The Kyuubi protested, blushing furiously. If it means anything, Kurama, take care of Naruto, train him in the shinobi ways and prepare him for this cruel and violent world, Kushina stated. Naruto, please restore the legacy of the Uzumaki name, carry on your scientific studies, and punish the man who tore our family apart as your mother. Those are my final requests. Naruto stood up, before giving a slight smile, one that he rarely bore before this. I'm happy, glad, grateful to be your son, Naruto stated. I always will be. Kushina smiled before fading from sight, leaving Naruto and Kurama alone in the blonde's mindscape. She was a loving woman even to her last moments, Kurama explained. Naruto-kun, do your best to honor her memory. Could I ever accomplish that? Can I fill the shoes she left behind? Naruto questioned. I believe in you, Kurama stated, giving the surprised blonde a foxy grin. That was the first time that anyone said that, Naruto revealed. Thank you, Kurama-chan. Slightly blushing due to the suffix applied to her by Naruto, Kurama stammered in her speech. And no problem, Naruto-kun, it's time to go, the old man is expecting. Real world. Naruto awoke in a jolt, finding himself in a hospital room with a breathing apparatus placed over his face. Naruto slowly turned his head, noticing a sleeping Hiruzen sitting next to his bed. Did he, Hokage-sama, sit by my side all this time? Naruto thought, his eyes welling up before he tugged the Hokage's cloak. Does he care that much about me? Hiruzen slowly awoke, his weary eyes opening slowly as Naruto removed his breathing apparatus. Naruto, you're awake? Hiruzen exclaimed, are you alright? I'm fine, Hokage-sama, Naruto replied softly. Could we talk in private? Of course, Hiruzen assured, giving a hand gesture before the umbu guarding the room walked out the door. Why did no one tell me? Naruto asked. I hoped it wouldn't come to this, Hiruzen thought, before sighing and giving an answer. Naruto, please try to understand, your parents had many enemies and you knew how the public felt about your father. What do you think would happen if everyone knew that you were his son? How did you know I was talking in regards to my parents? Naruto asked. In your slumber, you had glowed with an orange gleam, the same shade as the Kyuubi's chakra, Hiruzen explained. I suppose the Kyuubi told you about your heritage? Yes, Naruto murmured. What do you intend to do with this information? Hiruzen asked, curious in regards to the boy's answer. I'll become a shinobi, Naruto concluded. I'll continue studying science, and I'll be better than my father. Hiruzen smiled, before patting the boy on the head. Hiruzen pointed to a bag. I've packed your things, and I've got you an apartment to yourself, Hiruzen stated. It has everything a normal apartment would as well as your laboratory. Naruto's eyes widened before he leapt up to hug the Hokage. Get some rest, Naruto, Hiruzen stated, setting the boy on the hospital bed, before walking out of the room. You'd better get some rest, Naruto-kun, Kurama whispered. Your training begins when you recover. October 6th, Naruto's age 6. Naruto will be leaving the orphanage today. In his eyes, a pair of blue, soulless orbs. I saw the eyes of Orochimaru, except this time it isn't someone who was born a prodigy, instead, it's someone who became a prodigy through his hard work, someone whose talents lie in his incapability to give up. He now knows of his father, and swore to become better than him. There is simply no longer a reason for this report to continue existing. And I will see to it that it does not. Hiruzen put down his pen, before closing the report. The old Hokage stood up, walking towards the lit-up fireplace before throwing the report into it, watching as it gradually burnt into embers and broke apart. Hiruzen sighed. He knew the boy's life will be hard from now on. The old man swore to Kami, if he ever discovered who let slip the boy's Jinchuriki status to the common public, he would ensure that the rascal burns in hell. Naruto, age 10, Academy. Get out! The academy teacher screamed at Naruto, who promptly stood up and began to pace towards the door. Naruto walked out of the academy classroom, closing the door behind him before walking away. Wait, you were right, weren't you? Kurama asked. Yeah, I was, Naruto mentally replied. These assholes can't bear seeing me being right, so this happens, that's my conclusion, at least. So, what are your plans for today? Kurama questioned her host, who began to walk towards the academy's door. I'm just getting out of here, Naruto replied, approaching the door. Naruto opened the door, before ducking under a punch, one thrown by an older student. Where do you think you're going, you freak? The bully asked. Naruto didn't reply, continuing to brush by the older boy. Seemingly annoyed by Naruto's nonchalance, the bully threw a right hook towards Naruto with all his might, one which connected with Naruto's face. Without a hint of flinching, Naruto pushed his face against the fist, turning to glare at the bully. Before the bully was able to pull his punch back, Naruto grabbed onto the bully's right thumb, before twisting and breaking it, causing the bully to scream in pain before falling to the ground. Why, you're finished! The bully yelled, fear evident in his stumbling voice. My dad's in the civilian council. He'll have you hung up by your guts. Completely ignoring the older boy's statement, Naruto withdrew a scalpel from his pocket, before slowly walking towards the bully. You know, Naruto murmured with an emotionless tone, you would make an excellent specimen to dissect. That was the final straw for the boy, who passed out in fear. Naruto turned his back, placing his scalpel back into his pocket before walking away. Realistically, you could have taken him as an actual specimen, you know that? Kurama asked, a slight hint of laughter in her voice. Probably I could have just dissected him right there and then, Naruto replied. Either way, I would rather not have the entirety of the civilian side of the village after my head right now. One boy telling his parents is one thing, a missing boy now, that's a different situation altogether. Smart move, Kurama replied. Anyways, that was an interesting use of the Kage clan's ability. Denser, tougher bones always make taking hits easier, Naruto replied, slowly approaching his apartment. Naruto's apartment. Entering the apartment, Naruto placed his bag on the ground before approaching his work table, which had 2 vials placed on it. This might be a dumb idea, Naruto informed Kurama while placing a set of goggles over his eyes, before pulling on a pair of lab gloves. Correction, this is a dumb idea. Good, at least we agree on that, Kurama muttered. What do you intend to do anyway? I'm going to create a new, stronger acid, Naruto replied. I believe that it will be formed as a solution of both antimony pentafluoride and hydrogen fluoride. I just need to determine how much I need of both to balance the solution. What makes you think that they are compatible? Kurama questioned. What if it just explodes in your face? You could just heal me, Naruto replied. Either that or my incredibly diluted blood would just pull something out of nowhere. Without heeding further warnings, Naruto began to pour 1/3 of a beaker of antimony pentafluoride into a larger beaker, before pouring 2/3 of a beaker of hydrogen fluoride solution into the same large beaker. Naruto began to slowly twirl the mixture with a lab spatula. Suddenly, the beaker cracked and fell apart, before the mixture sparked and slowly caught on fire. That was unexpected, Naruto whispered to Kurama, putting out the fire with a fire extinguisher. I think I'm close to finding it, though what do you think, Kurama-chan? How many times have I told you, Kurama began to say, clearly flustered by the suffix, not Tio, call me that. Don't lie, Naruto murmured with a rare smirk, you like that nickname. Without giving time for Kurama to respond, Naruto walked back to the table, pulling another large beaker from under the table. Now then, Naruto thought, what happens if I put in equal amounts of both? Following his thoughts exactly, Naruto placed 1/3 of a beaker each of both compounds into the larger beaker, before mixing them with the lab spatula. Nothing seems to be happening yet, Naruto murmured, before turning around towards another table. Guess I'll take a look at my other project first. Your anesthetic project? Kurama asked. What do you need that for? My mother did tell us that the world is dangerous, Naruto replied, mentally recalling his meeting with Kushina. Enemy shinobi are much easier to deal with once they are unconscious. It could also help me perform surgeries in the future if need be. Surgeries? Kurama asked. Didn't know you wanted to be a medic. I don't necessarily want to cure diseases, Naruto replied, but I do intend to remove poisons and toxins. Fascinating, Kurama muttered. Before Naruto was able to approach his other work table, a sizzling noise could be heard. Carefully, Naruto turned to his first work table, where he witnessed an extraordinary sight. The solution is gone, Naruto muttered. Did it dissolve? Evaporate? Is that why it sizzled? Naruto-kun, Kurama informed. Look closer at the beaker, please. Naruto peered down from atop the beaker, before noticing what he had failed to notice seconds prior. Naruto found himself looking at a hole at the bottom of the beaker, one which extended through his work table. Did it dissolve all the way through? Naruto said aloud. Let's hope that no one lives downstairs, Kurama chuckled. Yup, Naruto replied, walking towards the fireplace with his notes. We don't need this anymore, Naruto stated, before tossing the notes into the blaze. Actually, it would be more appropriate to say that we don't need anyone else finding them, isn't that right, Inu? As if on cue, a member of the Umbu wearing a fox-like mask landed on the ground before Naruto. You know my name, I don't get why you still insist on calling me Inu, Inu asked. How have you been, Naruto? Quite alright, Inu, Naruto replied. As for why I call you Inu, it would be rather counterproductive to call an Umbu by his real name when he's on duty, wouldn't it? It would, Inu replied. Anyways, the Hokage wants to check up on you. It is your 10th birthday after all. Really? Naruto remarked. I forgot I'll be at his office in a second. I just need to clean this up first. No need for that, Hiruzen suddenly stated. I'm already here. Hiruzen finished, before walking up behind Inu and Naruto, who both knelt before the third Hokage. Now, no need for formalities here, we are in a private place, after all. Naruto and Inu stood up, before Inu flickered away, leaving Naruto and Hiruzen alone. Happy birthday, Naruto, Hiruzen stated, pulling a scroll from his back. Take this as my gift. You could say that it is a jutsu most befitting of you. Multi-shadow clone jutsu? Naruto asked, opening the scroll. Fascinating, Kurama muttered. Based on the information in the scroll, it's an S-ranked technique, and you probably could perform it. S-ranked? Naruto asked. With all due respect, Hokage-sama, are you sure I can use it? Of course, Naruto, Hiruzen replied. With the QB contained within yourself, you possess chakra reserves which many deem unnaturally large. You said you had issues performing the normal clone jutsu, didn't you? I did, but Naruto began to say. Then you should find this version perfect for you, Hiruzen replied, before walking towards the work table, noticing the large hole that extended into the floor of Naruto's apartment. A successful acid experiment, I assume? You could say that, Naruto replied. Actually, may I ask a favor? Of course, Hiruzen replied. Another specimen to dissect? Precisely, Naruto replied, pulling his notebook from his table. Could I ask for a snake? Hiruzen paused for a moment. Are you sure? Hiruzen asked. Well, it's either that or a human specimen, but I assume the latter's off limits? Hiruzen sighed, before giving his answer. If you want a snake, rush to Training Ground 44 before the sun sets. In that forest lives the only person from which you can get a snake from in the entirety of Konoha. Alright. Thank you, Hokage-sama. Naruto thanked, before running out the door, leaving Hiruzen in his room. He sure does have his mother's enthusiasm, Hiruzen muttered, before leaving Naruto's apartment. Training Ground 44. So this is the place, Naruto muttered, walking up to the gates of the large forest. I remember this place from when I was contained inside Kushina-chan, Kurama revealed. You're gonna love this place, Naruto-kun. Really? What's inside? Naruto asked. Well, from what I remember, Kurama recalled, let's just say you can probably dissect all the creatures here and discover something new every time. In that case, let's hope this person Hokage-sama told me to look for is as interesting as the forest itself, Naruto replied, before walking into the forest. Behind Naruto's back, however, 4 genin stepped out of the shadows. So this is where the demon is, the first one said. Be quiet. A second genin stated, we don't want no one hearing us. With the two of you being so loud, a third genin stated, I would be surprised if no one heard us. Would you all just shut up? A fourth one yelled, someone's going to hear us at this point. Well, you sure are right about that one, Naruto suddenly stated, appearing behind the 4. Fuck the plan. The first genin yelled, throwing a punch, one which Naruto ducked under with ease. Quite fast for a demon, aren't you? The second genin asked, throwing a kick which Naruto dodged with similar ease. Naruto ducked under an elbow strike, before backflipping over the second genin. What's wrong? The third genin asked, successfully landing a punch onto Naruto's face, one which the blonde shrugged off. Cat got your tongue? What should I do, Kurama? Naruto thought. Hang on, Naruto-kun. Kurama yelled, let's see what else your blood contains. With this moment of distraction, Naruto failed to notice a kunai whizzing past his face, only managing to notice the explosive tag tied to it. Without much time to dodge, Naruto covered his face with his arms, before the tag combusted and exploded completely, sending Naruto flying into a tree, parts of his clothing torn from the blast. Come on now, the fourth genin muttered, you showed so much bravado towards my little brother earlier, I do hope you have some more to show. So it's that jackass, Naruto thought, picking himself off, with his eyes completely shut. And why the hell are my eyes so irritated? Kurama-chan? You there? So this is part of your blood, unexpected, Kurama murmured, a slight hint of irritation in her voice. Kurama-chan? What are you talking about? Naruto thought, opening his eyes. Naruto stood up, but something was off. The four genin were still there, no doubt, but they seemed to move in a sort of slow motion. With no time to contemplate, Naruto leapt back into action, perfectly grabbing onto the wrist of the second genin before throwing him over his shoulder. Okay, how did I do that? Naruto thought, dodging a punch from the third genin. Think for yourself, Naruto-kun, Kurama replied, which bloodline ability allows for the prediction of actions as well as the slowing down of vision. Well, Naruto began to think, before having to dodge a kick from the fourth genin. Sit still, demon! The fourth genin yelled. As if mocking his opponent, Naruto stopped in front of the fourth genin, before landing a devastating head onto the nose of his opponent, knocking him out. Standing back up, Naruto sent a cold glare towards the two remaining genin, who seemed to notice something. Impossible, the first genin muttered. It can't be! The third genin yelled, your clan was murdered 3 years ago. That's rather subjective, isn't it? Naruto finally stated, before catching a kunai from the first genin. Without a moment's hesitation, Naruto flung the kunai into the chest of the third genin, the blade lodging itself deep into the neck of the genin. The first genin rushed over to the third genin's side, before placing his fingers over the kunai. I wouldn't do that if I were you, Naruto stated. That kunai is keeping him alive, without it he would bleed out within seconds. Why, you monster! The remaining genin yelled, we have parents in the civilian council. Blah blah blah, and then the civilian council's gonna hang me by my guts, aren't they? Naruto asked. It would be an effective threat if I haven't heard it so many times before. Enraged, the remaining genin charged towards Naruto with the crudeness of an untrained barbarian. Unfazed by this, Naruto stood up, before landing a right cross onto the nose of the genin, breaking it in its entirety, knocking him out. Okay, what the hell is going on? Naruto asked himself, walking towards a pond, before staring into it. Staring back at Naruto was not his pair of regular, soulless, blue orbs, but a set of scarlet-red pupils, each with a single tomo within them. Well, can't say I saw that one coming. Your blood sure is diverse, Naruto-kun, Kurama murmured. Could you turn them off? Naruto requested. Of course, Kurama replied. Seconds later, Naruto's eyes reverted from the blazing pair of Sharingan back into his regular pair of blue orbs. What is going on here? Came a new voice. Naruto turned around, only to come face to face with what appeared to be a Chunin. Naruto stood up, as the Chunin looked around, before withdrawing a kunai. You demon, the Chunin declared, how dare you? Before the Chunin was able to do anything, a snake emerged from the shadows, before biting the Chunin in the neck, eliciting a scream of agony from the Chunin. Naruto turned towards the snake, attempting to locate the source of the snake. Gradually, Naruto felt the snake slowly coming out of the light, before the source itself emerged from the darkness, the sleeve of a trenchcoat. How dare him? A female voice asked, how dare you? How dare you enter my grounds before prior request? Slowly, the source of the voice emerged from the shadows herself, revealing a young woman with purple hair tied into a pineapple-like shape, one wearing a tan trenchcoat with mesh armor underneath, the trenchcoat barely covering her stunning figure underneath. Most defining to Naruto, she had a snake fang pendant tied around her neck. The woman flicked her wrist, before withdrawing the snake. You're not off the hook either, kid, the woman stated. I'll just deal with this asshole first, so stay put. Shit, Naruto thought, something tells me this is the woman we're looking for, but I don't think she likes visitors. Her form of dress is interesting to say the least, Kurama replied. Get lost, snake whore! The Chunin yelled, this is between me and the demon. It's fine, I'll end both the demon and the snake whore at the same time. The Chunin rushed at the woman, who flickered out of view. The Chunin looked around in confusion, before feeling a sharp jolt of pain in his shoulder. The Chunin turned around, only to see a kunai stuck into his right shoulder. You seem decent, the woman stated, suddenly appearing next to Naruto. Nice to meet you, kid. The name's Anko Midarashi. Don't mock me! The Chunin yelled, throwing a kunai at newly identified Anko, who caught the kunai with ease. Nice kunai, Anko stated, ripping off the explosive tag tied to the kunai. I'll borrow this. Anko tore the explosive tag apart, rendering it completely useless. The Chunin stared, awestruck at Anko's lack of pressure. Suddenly he felt a stinging pain in his leg. The Chunin looked down to his feet, noticing a kunai plunged into his ankle. The Chunin glared at Anko, before running towards Anko. Halfway into his run, however, the Chunin collapsed to the ground, completely lifeless. Did you know? Anko asked Naruto. The Oxyuranus microlepidodus is known to be one of the most venomous species of snakes in the world, so tell me why you're here, kid, before it sinks its fangs into your flesh. Well, I was wondering if I could have a snake, Naruto asked. A snake? Anko asked in confusion. You're a kid. What do you need a snake for? To dissect? Naruto replied. And what if I don't give one to you? Anko asked. Hell, I don't even know your name. Oh wait, I forgot to start with my name, Naruto thought, mentally face-palming. I should attend a speaking class or something. A priority, Kurama muttered. My name is Naruto Uzumaki, Naruto replied, and Hokage-sama told me I could get a snake from you. Anything more specific? Anko asked. You want me to just speak my mind? Naruto mentally asked Kurama. Go for it, Kurama replied with a cheeky smirk. This should be fun. Well, I think you've got beautiful hair, a gorgeous face, a stunning figure, Naruto began to say, an in-depth understanding about snakes, as well as intensely powerful shinobi skills. Anko stared in confusion, slipping deep into her thoughts. This kid, is he just that dense? Or does he not know how to interact? Either way, he is kinda cute. How about this, Naruto-kun? Anko offered. I'll give you an infinite supply of different snakes in exchange. You seem to need to learn how to talk to people, so you come here every week. How about it? Anko asked, sticking out a hand. Truthfully, I just want to see this kid. He's strangely endearing in a way, in hell. With how things might progress, who knows what lies ahead for us. I don't really like talking, but sure. Naruto accepted, shaking Anko's hand. I'll come down every week. Now I'll give you a snake tomorrow, Anko replied. It's kinda late now, so you better head home. Alright, goodbye, Naruto replied, running off. Be honest, Naruto-kun, Kurama teased. You like her, don't you? Maybe, Naruto replied, slowly approaching his apartment. Naruto, age 14. It was early in the morning, 4 in the morning to be exact, when Naruto arrived at the Forest of Death. Attempting to sneak in subtly through Anko's window, Naruto was quickly disappointed upon noticing the noise of a snake hissing. Looking downwards, 2 kunai seemingly launched themselves towards Naruto. The kunai dug themselves into the wall which Naruto had clung to before Anko came out of the shadows, a snake wrapped around her shoulders. What the Anko muttered, walking towards the wall, taking note of the lack of any blood. Those kunai would have at least grazed him, or even pinned him to the wall. Even then, blood would have been left behind as residue. You would be surprised at how much people can change in 2 years, Anko-chan, Naruto replied, appearing next to Anko, who immediately trapped the blonde in a tight hug. Sorry for dropping out for 2 years. Sorry? Anko asked, pulling away from the blonde. You should be. We went from seeing each other daily to not seeing each other for 2 years. Where have you been? That's considerably simple to explain, Naruto assured. You remember Kurama-chan, right? Stop calling me that, Kurama protested. I've done it for 4 years and I will continue to do it, Naruto mentally remarked, annoying Kurama. What did she do this time? Anko asked in a drawn-out tone as if expecting the blonde's reply. To put it simply, Naruto began to say. 2 years ago. Naruto-kun, wake up! Kurama yelled, forcing Naruto to reluctantly open his eyes. Well, I am beginning your training today. How long is this training going to last? Naruto asked. Well, considering how little emphasis you've placed into ninjutsu, taijutsu, Or genjutsu, it's probably going to take 2 years, Kurama analyzed, to which Naruto slightly frowned. Don't give me that look, it's for your own good. Well, fair enough, Naruto admitted, both to Kurama and himself in regards to his lack of effort in the conventional ninja arts. You're right, I have been gifted, or cursed, with the perfect set of tools which any shinobi would dream of, yet I remain unrefined, unskilled in the usage of those tools. Now you're starting to understand, Kurama exclaimed. I require this training to ensure that I can properly utilize these tools, Naruto replied, for a fool with a sword is far less dangerous in comparison to a pro with his fists. Do I at least get to continue my research? You will, Kurama assured. Get changed, brush your teeth, we're leaving at once. Do I at least get to say goodbye to Anko-chan? Naruto asked. Does she not mind that suffix like I do? Kurama asked. Well, no, Naruto replied, she calls it cute, I don't get why. Kurama smiled. Naruto still had much to learn, especially when it came to social interactions. Kurama sighed. Naruto-kun, you will not be able to do so, unfortunately we are to leave at once. Naruto didn't react, turning to his apartment's bathroom. Fine, give me a few minutes. Present day. I see, Anko replied. What did this training entail? Training is a strong term, Naruto stated. Torture seems rather weak right now. Well then, I assume you have no issue showing me what you had learned? Anko requested. What? Naruto asked, only to be kicked through the door, landing onto the soft grass of the forest of death. Oh, so that's what she meant. Anko landed in front of Naruto, before pulling out a kunai. Ready? Anko asked. Whenever you are, Naruto replied, outstretching his right hand, facing his palm outwards while placing his right palm over his right elbow, both of which were close to his face, with both his legs slightly bent. Just so you know, I do not intend on losing. Real romantic, genius, Kurama mocked. Now's not the time, Naruto replied. If I go in full of bravado, she may be intimidated. Less talk, more work, Anko stated, before dashing towards Naruto. Want a wager? If I win, you come to live with me from now on. If I lose, I get to take you on a date, Naruto finished, dashing towards Anko. Win-win for me then, Anko thought, withdrawing a kunai from her sleeve, before flinging it towards Naruto, fully expecting him to dodge it. Surprisingly, Naruto didn't flinch, earning a slash on his cheek. Anko stopped her dash, confused as to Naruto's approach. Naruto touched his wound, standing still as if he was working something out. Anko walked forwards, pulling out another kunai. What are you doing? Anko asked, before throwing her second kunai at Naruto. Mere milliseconds before the kunai was able to rip itself into Naruto's face, the blonde lifted his arm, before grabbing the kunai by its handle, stopping it mere millimeters from his face, shocking Anko. How the heck? Anko began to ask, only to be cut off by Naruto. We're currently about 2 meters apart, Naruto began to explain, examining the kunai. It took your kunai about 6 seconds to cut me in the last exchange. Assuming that your kunai doesn't decelerate in any way, your kunai should be traveling at a velocity of a meter per second, giving me about 5 seconds to react to your kunai, for if I intend to pull that stunt. As Naruto was distracted by his explanation, multiple snakes launched themselves towards Naruto, wrapping around the blonde and binding him in place, seemingly immobilizing him. I don't even want to know how you did that so quickly, Anko stated, as she walked towards the bound Naruto. But seeing as you lost, I don't suppose you've forgotten the terms? I wouldn't be so sure, Naruto stated, appearing suddenly behind Anko, pressing a kunai to her neck. Anko grit her teeth at first, before dispelling the snakes out of her sleeve and raising both her arms, as Naruto slowly pulled back his kunai. Alright, you win, Anko congratulated with a smile. Just name the day, time, and place and you can bet your ass I'll be there. How about later? Naruto asked. I'll need to attend the graduation thing first, although those council shitheads probably won't like me passing. Anko sighed, lightly clenching her fist. If you fail, I swear, I'll burn that damned council building to the ground. Relax, Naruto replied, turning to leave. I will not fail. I would rather die in a blaze of fire than bow to the heel of those damned civilian counselors. Naruto finished, before leaving for the academy. Jumping across the tops of several trees, Naruto didn't miss the strange silence presence in Kurama. Anything the matter, Kurama-chan? Naruto asked, slightly concerned. I'm alright, Kurama replied. Strange she didn't get annoyed at me calling her Kurama-chan, Naruto mentally noted. You know I can read your thoughts, right? Kurama asked. Then you should understand why I wanted to ask you, Naruto replied. Naruto-kun, I'm fine, Kurama assured, really I'm fine. Are you sure though? Naruto asked for confirmation. Kurama pouted, of course I'm fine. Stop worrying so much about me, you'll end up with a head full of gray hair. Kurama teased, Naruto-kun, I'll always be fine, no need to worry, Kurama stated, her tone slightly different from her normal one. Alright then, Naruto stated, approaching the academy. Let's ace this test. Inside the academy, Naruto walked into the classroom, with most of his classmates seemingly surprised by the change in his attire. In stark contrast to his usual orange jumpsuit, Naruto now donned a black trench coat, a pair of goggles on his head, intangible mesh armor, Anbu-styled pants, a pair of black combat boots, as well as several small pouches around his waist. Iruka placed his fingers on his temple. Naruto, you're late, Iruka stated, please get seated so we can begin the first test. Naruto did not reply, only sparing a glance to Iruka before taking his seat next to one Sasuke Uchiha, who eyed him up and down. What's with the new outfit, Uzuratanki? Sasuke asked, only for Naruto to not answer. Did you not hear me? Naruto shook his head, before lifting a finger, signaling for Sasuke to wait. Is this the same Naruto I know? Sasuke asked himself, before turning back towards the board. Whatever, he should still be that kid who was decent in science, and nothing else, no big threat to me. Iruka stepped forward, Mizuki by his side. We're about to begin the tests, Iruka announced, handing out papers with Mizuki to every student present. Write your name, the date today, and begin answering the questions. You all have an hour to complete it, good luck. Naruto lifted his pencil, before glancing through the test itself, quickly realizing how much he had overestimated the difficulty of the written test. Shaking his head slightly, Naruto began to fill in the blanks, intentionally getting a few questions wrong to not make it seem as though he had been cheating. An hour later, Iruka instructed the class to cease their answering, before Mizuki walk around and collect the papers. Skimming through the blonde's paper, Mizuki's ever-growing scowl had not gone unnoticed by Naruto, even less so by Kurama. Do not trust that man, Kurama stated with a scowl of her own, even in the direst of situations. I do not intend to, Naruto mentally replied. Mizuki plopped the stack of papers on the table before Iruka opened the door. Alright class, for the next test, Iruka began to say, please make your way to the roof so we may commence the next two tests at once. Finishing his statement, Iruka left the room, before the students all piled out of the classroom. Rooftop. Reaching the rooftops, the students all found themselves facing rows of training dummies. Alright class, Mizuki began to announce, this will be an accuracy test. You will all individually throw 3 kunai, one at a time, at your assigned training dummies and will be scored based on the parts you hit. Fascinating, Naruto thought, analyzing the situation. They all have a constant range between the target and the thrower. I can see where this is going, Kurama thought. The first student went ahead, throwing all 3 of his kunai in rapid succession, hitting 2 in the dummy's chest and missing 1 completely. The range is about 15 meters, Naruto analyzed. The second student went forward, throwing all 3 of his kunai in slower succession, hitting 1 in the dummy's left leg and the other 2 in the dummy's torso. It takes approximately 10 seconds for a kunai to reach, Naruto analyzed. Half an hour later, the raven-haired Hinata walked up to the starting position, throwing all 3 of her kunai one at a time, hitting the dummy's head with 1 and hitting the dummy's torso with the other 2. Assuming it does not decelerate, Naruto rationalized, I would need to throw my kunai at a constant velocity of 20 meters a second, taking account of the light breeze in the air. It also has to be from an angle of 45 degrees. Lastly, Naruto Uzumaki, Mizuki announced, a small smirk forming across his face. Naruto shrugged, before walking towards the starting position, feeling the kunai in his hands getting lighter every second that passed. Within a blink of an eye, Naruto threw all 3 of his kunai at once, successfully hitting the dummy's head with all 3, causing Iruka to gape in confusion and Mizuki to fume in slight anger. Unexpected, that's for sure, Mizuki thought, fuming at the blonde's ease of passing. Next up, Mizuki announced, it's time for the taijutsu test. Iruka pointed to a square drawn on the ground. This is where combatants will be fighting. Any inch of the body that exits the square will be counted as an out of bounds for that contestant. First up, Naruto Uzumaki and Sasuke Uchiha, Mizuki announced, his wicked gleam not going unnoticed by Naruto. Naruto walked to the center of the square, as Sasuke did the same. Both combatants performed the seal of confrontation before slipping into their respective stances, Sasuke slipping into his family's stance, while Naruto assumed the stance he did against Enko. "Get him, Sasuke," Ino yelled. "Make him know his place," Sakura added on. Sasuke smirked, clearly knowing that Naruto was not in the audience's favor. "You sure you don't want to give up now?" Sasuke mocked, attempting to agitate Naruto. On the contrary, Naruto replied, "I did prepare for this, so I might as well continue." Not knowing the meaning of Naruto's statement, Sasuke dashed towards Naruto, before throwing a punch, one which Naruto caught with ease. Using the Uchiha's momentum against himself, Naruto tossed the Uchiha over his shoulder and out of the square, deeming him officially out of bounds. Not wanting to be yelled at by the hordes of fangirls for his apparent rudeness, Naruto made sure to help the Uchiha up, who had been as confused as everyone else watching. "Sorry about that," Naruto began to say, "I got lucky." Sasuke looked on, stunned by Naruto's humbleness. "You didn't," whatever Sasuke attempted to reply, before giving up and offering to perform the seal of reconciliation, which Naruto accepted. "He doesn't need to know," Naruto thought, "but I have to say he isn't the douche I expected him to be." For once, Kurama noted, the Uchiha do have a chance of changing. Classroom, after the Taijutsu test. Iruka stood at the front of the class, as Mizuki stood in the corner, fuming at his failed attempts of sabotaging Naruto's exams. "Alright, class," Iruka began to say, "for the final test, I will be calling each of you up to the front of the class, where you will all have to perform the 3 basic ninjutsu techniques: the substitution technique, the transformation technique, and the clone technique. First off, Naruto Uzumaki," Mizuki declared, knowing full well that this was his final chance of embarrassing the blonde. Shrugging slightly, Naruto walked to the front of the class, before Iruka threw a whiteboard duster at him. Seconds before the object made contact with his face, Naruto vanished from sight, leaving a mere eraser in his place, himself appearing on the desk. "Very good," Iruka stated. "Now, the transformation technique." Nodding, Naruto placed his hands together, before transforming into a pitch-perfect clone of Iruka, complete with the scar and all. Not only was his appearance on point, but Naruto also succeeded in perfectly imitating the scarred teacher's voice as well. "Impressive," Iruka acknowledged. "Now, the clone technique." Without further thinking, Naruto formed a cross with his hands. "Wait, Naruto-kun!" Kurama suddenly yelled, "That's the wrong." This attempted warning would go on to fall on deaf ears for Naruto, as clouds of white smoke appeared before quickly fading, leaving 3 perfect clones of Naruto in their place, shocking everyone present. "Clone technique," Kurama finished, face-palming. "Oops," Naruto thought. Incredible," Iruka stammered, shocked at the blonde's display, before handing Naruto a blue hideate. "There is simply nothing more that I could say. You have truly exceeded my expectations in every way, and I am very proud to call you my student. There is simply nothing more I could teach you, so go be a shinobi that will make us all proud." Naruto smiled back at Iruka, receiving the headband before leaving. "Damn it!" Mizuki thought, full of rage for his failure to sabotage Naruto's exam. Time for Plan B then. Enko's home, evening. "So," Enko began to say seductively with a sultry smile, "you are a shinobi now, huh?" "I sure am," Naruto replied, lifting his goggles to reveal his hideate. "This color of the headband does suck, though." "It does," Enko replied, "but hey, you ready for our date?" "I am," Naruto replied, taking Enko's hand. "Let's go." With the mood of the occasion, Naruto missed the reaction of Kurama, who had a slightly sour look on her face. The next day, Naruto walked into the academy, as all of his contemporaries had done minutes prior. Completely ignoring the several stares sent his way, Naruto casually approached an isolated seat at the back of the class, before sitting down. Looking around to ensure no one was peeping on him, Naruto opened a notebook, before picking up a pencil. Naruto pressed the lead of the pencil onto a page of the notebook, before breaking the lead of the pencil upon hearing slow footsteps towards him. Looking up, Naruto immediately kept his notebook upon noticing it was Sasuke. "You need something?" Naruto asked, forming a rare piece of dialogue to anyone, let alone Sasuke. "No," Sasuke replied, "just wondering if you would be interested in a quick spar." "Probably not today, I'm afraid," Naruto replied, standing up. "I have quite a bit of business to tend to." Sasuke nodded, before taking a seat himself. Naruto shook his head, before sitting down, attempting to process the events that had transpired the day before. Yesterday. Naruto's mindscape. Kurama-chan, Naruto muttered, appearing inside his mindscape. I think we need to talk. No, Naruto-kun, Kurama stated, focus on your date. Tell me the truth, Naruto replied, what's wrong? It's just that, Kurama began to admit. I wish we had a date like this, the one you and Anko-chan are having right now. But that wouldn't work, Naruto asked, would it? That's the thing, Kurama began to say. For us demons, it's rather normal for us to take on several mates, but those ideals don't apply to humans. I'm sure we can work something out, Naruto assured, walking towards the cage, only for Kurama to turn away from him, a single tear hitting the ground as she did so. It's alright, Naruto-kun, Kurama replied, her voice cracking up slightly. I already acknowledged the fact that I can never have you. Kurama fell to her knees, tears streaming down her face as Naruto grabbed onto the bars of her cage. Suddenly, the ground in Naruto's mindscape shook greatly, as the bars slowly disappeared, allowing Naruto to move forward. Placing a hand on her shoulder, Naruto quickly got the attention of Kurama. How did you? Kurama began to say, only for Naruto to lift her to her feet, before cutting her off, claiming her lips with his own. Tears flowed down Kurama's face, as she returned the kiss, holding on to Naruto. Before long, Kurama pulled away from Naruto, looking straight into his eyes. Are you sure this is what you want? Kurama asked. Do you not want to consult Anko-chan first? That's not a bad idea, Naruto replied. Give me one moment. Real world. Naruto awoke in the real world, only to be met with the sight of him being upside down. So you finally woke up, Anko murmured, placing Naruto on a chair in her home. Anko-chan, there is someone who wants to have a conversation with you, Naruto explained. Give me your hand. Without questioning the sheer absurdity of the situation, Anko outstretched an arm towards Naruto, before Naruto held onto Anko's arm and transported the both of them into his mindscape. Naruto's mindscape. Anko awoke in a puddle, with Naruto already standing over her. It's alright, the first time is often disorientating, Naruto assured. Anyways, the person who wants to talk to you, Naruto began to say, before pausing for a bit. Is? Anko asked, only to see a shadow behind Naruto. She's behind me, isn't she? Naruto asked, only to hear Kurama giggling softly. Anko, meet Kurama, Kurama, meet Anko. It's my pleasure, Kurama acknowledged, bowing before Anko. Hey, Anko began to say, scratching the back of her head, I'm not all too great regarding this formal stuff. That's quite alright, Kurama stated with a smile. Naruto-kun has several communication issues himself. Damn, Anko thought, looking at Kurama's figure, she's hot. Being able to read this, Kurama smirked in amusement, one which Naruto shared. Forgot to mention, Kurama began to say again, I can read your thoughts when you're here, but if it means anything, you don't look half bad yourself. Kurama joked, causing Anko to blush slightly. Well, Anko began to say, only to be cut off. I believe it's time for us to discuss the reason you're here, Kurama stated, with Naruto sitting a certain distance away from the two. To put it in simple terms, we both love Naruto-kun, so why don't we share? Anko immediately asked. So I thought we should share, Kurama began, before cutting herself off in confusion. Wait, what? Anko smirked. I knew Naruto-kun had another girl in his life, especially since no one just calls a casual friend by the suffix chan. What do you think about this, Naruto-kun? Kurama asked. Is this what you want? Well, I can't choose between the two of you, Naruto explained. As a social construct, harems could hold several advantages. Harems are a beneficial social structure for the dominant male, as it allows him access to several reproductively available females at a time. Harems protect the females within a particular harem, as dominant males will fiercely ward off potential invaders. Harems also allow bonding and socialization among the female members, which can result in greater control over access to females as determined by the female's preferences. Of course, he gives a scientific explanation, both women thought, rolling their eyes at the same time, before widening them in realization. Wait, harem? Kurama asked in distress. You want to have several mates? Anko teased. Oh, Naruto-kun, I never knew you liked to experiment that much, although, seeing your scientific background, I shouldn't be surprised, should I? In fact. Anko walked towards Kurama, before pressing her lips against the other woman, gently caressing Kurama's large throughout the kiss, completely surprising Naruto. To further add to his surprise, Kurama returned the kiss, performing similar acts to Anko. After a bit of time had passed, Anko pulled away from Kurama. So then, Kurama-chan, Anko asked, I assume this situation can be considered settled? It definitely can, Anko-chan, Kurama replied with a wink, a smile plastered on her face before her expression shifted to a relatively more serious one. Anyways, Naruto-kun, any potential mates will have to be approved by me or Anko-chan, got it? Of course, Naruto promised. We should probably go back to the real world now, shouldn't we? Yup, see ya later, Kurama-chan, Anko exclaimed before she and Naruto vanished from his mindscape. Real world. Anko awoke next to Naruto, before planting a kiss on the blonde's lips. You never told me you knew someone so kinky, Anko muttered, much to Naruto's amusement. Present day. Naruto shook himself out of his daydream, as Iruka walked up to the front of the classroom. Iruka-sensei, Sakura asked, where's Mizuki-sensei? I have an announcement to make regarding that, Iruka stated. Yesterday, at about 9 p.m., Mizuki was caught attempting to betray the leaf. He had attempted to henge into Naruto, before stealing something of great value to Konoha. Interesting, Naruto spoke out, surprising most of his classmates who have yet to hear Naruto speak at all. I don't recall robbing anyone during that time. Last night I was on a date. Just thinking about who would even consider dating Naruto, the one who hasn't spoken before today, Sakura thought, freaks me out. That's the point, Iruka continued to explain, you would have no reason to do that, Naruto, hence making Mizuki's ruse remarkably unconvincing. That pesky lowlife, Hinata thought, it seems I knew better than to trust him with anything. A snake in every sense of the word, Naruto thought, you were right for me not to trust him, Kurama-chan. Of course, Kurama replied with a sense of pride, since when am I ever wrong? You were wrong in assuming that Anko-chan wouldn't appreciate sharing me with you, Naruto mentally replied, much to Kurama's embarrassment. There was also that time you dash. Alright. I get it. Kurama yelled, pouting as she did so, I can be wrong sometimes too. Regardless of this, Iruka began to say again, the situation has been dealt with, and Mizuki has been apprehended. Anywho, it is time for me to announce team placements. I'll just explain it simply. 3 genin will be placed onto a team, with a Jonin sensei to guide them until they can mature as shinobi. For Team 10, it'll be comprised of Ino Yamanaka, Shikamaru Nara, and Choji Akimichi, under the leadership of Asuma Sarutobi. Isn't he the Hokage's son or something? Naruto asked himself. The blonde could have sworn he had heard that name before. Team 8 will consist of Hinata Hyuga, Kiba Inuzuka, and Shino Aburame, with the Jonin sensei of the team being Kurenai Yuhi, Iruka announced, as Hinata turned to Kiba, a cold glare placed onto him with her pupilless eyes. To put this out there now, Hinata said coldly, try anything funny and I'll be sure to have you hung by your legs before that, however you will die a death most befitting for people like you. Kiba gulped, before backing off slightly. Iruka went on for a bit regarding other teams, before arriving at the final team. Last but not least, Iruka began to say, Team 7 will consist of Naruto Uzumaki, Sakura Haruno, and Sasuke Uchiha, with the man leading their team being Kakashi Hatake. So, Inu's leading our team, Naruto thought, not being able to shake himself out of his old habit of addressing the silver-haired Umbu. A surprise for sure, but a welcome one. Although I do expect him to be late to appointments. Yes. Sakura thought with a sense of triumph, I'm in a team with Sasuke-kun. Take that, Ino pig. Sasuke continued to stare into nothingness. Iruka proceeded to leave the room, as the Jonin senseis from each team arrived and called for their teams to leave with them, leaving only 3 people left in the room. A bored Uchiha, an agitated Sakura, and an experimenting Naruto. If you don't mind me asking, Naruto-kun, Kurama whispered, what exactly are you doing? To be quite frank, I'm not that sure myself, Naruto replied, placing the vial containing the incomplete mixture into one of the pockets in his trenchcoat. Anyways, if you don't mind, you up to much? Are you trying to be an idiot? Kurama mocked, rolling her eyes slightly. You can come to visit whenever you want. Alright, Naruto mentally replied, I'm coming in now. Wait! Kurama yelled, let me tie my hair first. Mindscape. Not hearing Kurama's final statement, Naruto entered his mindscape, which had, since his last visit, morphed into a vast forest, with a small hut in the center of the forest. Naruto walked towards the hut, before opening the door, only to be met with the sight of Kurama, whose hair was untied and let loose. Naruto-kun! Kurama exclaimed, startled, I told you I was tying my hair. How would that be a problem? Naruto asked. Well, I look better with my hair tied, Kurama argued. Did you say that, Or did I say that one time? Naruto asked. Well, Kurama stammered, I think so. Because I think you look better with your hair untied, Naruto replied, causing Kurama to blush. Really? Kurama stammered. Yup, Naruto replied, walking towards Kurama, before placing a hand on her cheek. May I? I think we're past that stage, Naruto-kun, Kurama replied. Fair enough, Naruto stated with a chuckle, before pulling himself in to kiss Kurama on the lips, with Kurama herself eagerly returning the kiss. After a fair bit of time had passed, Naruto and Kurama pulled away from each other, with a long strand of saliva forming a bridge between their lips, much to the amusement of the both of them. You're getting better at that, Kurama remarked. That's to be expected, considering Enko-chan seems to require a kiss every few minutes, Naruto joked. I should probably leave now, I feel Inu's chakra approaching. Don't miss me too much, Kurama-chan. Really? Kurama mocked, shouldn't I be the one to say that? Head, Naruto chuckled, see ya later. Real world. Naruto looked up from his daze, as the doorknob began to twitch. Seconds later, the door flung open, before Kakashi stepped inside. Kakashi turned towards the three genin, his only visible eye bearing no apparent emotion. First impressions, Kakashi muttered, you're all rather boring, meet me on the roof. Finishing his only statement, Kakashi flickered away in a swirl of leaves, before Naruto and his future teammates were prompted to stand up and leave the classroom. Should I? Naruto mentally asked. If you wanted to, you could, Kurama replied. Is there any reason to do so? Fair enough, Naruto replied, before walking out of the room. Rooftop. On the rooftop, Naruto sat right side of the steps, while Sasuke sat on the left, with Sakura sitting next to him. Kakashi walked towards the three. First off, let's introduce ourselves, Kakashi requested, only to continue upon seeing the confusion on the faces of the three genin. Well, you know, like your name, your likes, dislikes, dreams. How about you demonstrate first, Kakashi-sensei? Sakura asked. Very well, Kakashi began to say, my name is Kakashi Hatake. As for my likes and dislikes, I don't feel like telling you my dreams for the future, never thought about that before, my hobbies are none of your business. Anyways, let's start with you, Haruno. My name is Sakura Haruno, my likes are, Sakura turned to Sasuke, before squealing. I don't know my dreams, Sakura turned to Sasuke once more, before squealing again, much to her teammates' chagrin. She's loud, that's for sure, Kakashi thought. You're next, Kakashi stated, pointing at Sasuke. My name is Sasuke Uchiha, Sasuke began to say. I have too many dislikes to list, and I have very little likes. As for my dreams, it is to kill a certain man and to eventually restore my clan. If only he knew, Naruto thought, considering his fractional Uchiha heritage. Interesting, Kakashi thought, before turning to Naruto, and finally. My name is Naruto Uzumaki, Naruto began to say. I like science and biology in particular. I dislike the ignorant and those who abuse their power. My hobbies are not worth sharing at the moment. My dreams? My dream is to free someone particularly important to me. Strange, Kakashi mentally remarked, before turning away from the three. Meet me in training ground 7 at 6 tomorrow morning. Also, I would recommend not eating any breakfast. A full stomach and a hard physical test have been known to make people throw up. Weight test? Sakura asked. The test you've passed yesterday was just to determine whether or not you guys were good enough to become genin, Kakashi replied as he began to walk away. The test tomorrow will see if you are good enough to hold that title. See you tomorrow morning. Without waiting for the response of the three genin, Kakashi flickered away in a swirl of leaves. Taking this as his cue to leave, Naruto walked backwards slowly, confusing his future teammates with his actions. Before Sasuke or Sakura were able to react, Naruto climbed up the fencing surrounding the rooftop, before jumping off. What the dash, Sakura thought. Did he go mad? Sasuke asked himself, scratched that he was always insane. Naruto's apartment. Naruto opened the door to his apartment, before quickly locking it behind him. Placing his trenchcoat on a hanger, Naruto turned towards his bed, contemplating if he should or should not just take a nap. Unfortunately for him, someone else would make that choice for him. Gotcha! Enko exclaimed, tackling Naruto onto his bed. So how are you? Suddenly, Enko noticed the disappearance of Naruto from underneath her, before she felt something pressing down on her. I'll always wonder how you do that, Naruto-kun, Enko asked, looking up as Naruto placed a hand on her back. You need something, Enko-chan? Naruto asked. Well, Enko began to say, pushing Naruto back underneath her and looking into his eyes. In scientific terms, which you would understand, I'd like to perform the act of copulation and procreation, Anko stated, eliciting a rare blush from Naruto. A tempting offer, Naruto acknowledged, but I would prefer if we did it tomorrow. I have a test the next morning and I need to be in top shape to pass. So was that a yes? Anko asked, sparkles forming in her eyes. Fine, Naruto replied, kissing Anko on the cheek. I suppose we could. Training Ground 7, 9 a.m. Naruto walked into the training ground, only to be met with a very irritated Sakura. Not caring about what his pink-haired comrade thought of him and his conduct, Naruto walked past the girl, before lying against the large trunk of a great oak, further irritating the girl. You're late! Sakura shrieked as Sasuke looked on from afar. No, you're early, Naruto replied. What the hell are you on about? Sakura grabbed Naruto's collar, demanding to know. Before further action could be taken by the pink-haired girl, Naruto sent a cold glare her way, one which immediately sent a chill down her spine. Without further hesitation, Sakura let go of Naruto's collar, before the blonde's facial expressions normalized. I had breakfast before I arrived, Naruto replied, and as you can see, Kakashi-sensei isn't here, is he? He isn't, but Sakura began to say, only for Naruto to disregard her and continue. Then you should know better than to follow stupid orders, Naruto finished, before pulling a notebook from his pocket and flipping it open. Before long, a cloud of white smoke emerged in the center of the field, before dispersing and leaving Kakashi in its place. Well then, good morning, Kakashi began to say, only to be cut off by Sakura. You're late! Sakura yelled, albeit not as loud as she did when she shrieked at Naruto. Well, you see, I got lost on the path of life and then there was this black cat crossing the road and then I had to help an old lady, Kakashi attempted to explain himself. Fucking hell, Naruto thought, placing the notebook back into his pocket, that's quite a story. Anyways, Kakashi began to explain again, the idea behind this test is rather simple, Kakashi continued as he pulled 2 bells from the pocket of his Jonin vest. All you 3 have to do is to take these bells from me, and you pass. But aren't there only 2 bells and 3 of us? Sakura asked. Kakashi further brandished the 2 bells. That's the point, it means that one of you will be sent back to the academy. I see, so that's his plan, Naruto thought, analyzing the situation deeply. Kakashi-sensei plans to prey on our natural selfishness as stated in psychology, one which details our need to have something limited, therefore the only way for all 3 of us to pass is for us to work together, Naruto thought, considering a strategy. That means that, like it or not, I'll need to be giving up a few secrets to pass this test. You 3 have until noon to take these bells from me, Kakashi stated, tying the bells to his belt. Start now. Sakura ducked into the bushes, Sasuke leaped to a treetop, Naruto began to slowly walk towards Kakashi while the aptly named silver-haired Jonin merely withdrew an orange book from his pocket. What the dash, Sakura thought, what is that idiot doing? It's fine, he can get kicked out and then Sasuke-kun and I can be alone without him here. This might work to my benefit, Sasuke thought, watching the looming battle from afar. I can gauge Naruto's true abilities from this angle and Kakashi will tire himself out fighting Naruto. Why am I doing this? Naruto asked himself, as he walked right up to Kakashi, who looked up from his book in amazement. How did he get past all those traps I laid? Kakashi thought, you should be hiding right now. Maybe, Naruto replied, but there's one distinct thing that sets me apart from those 2 hiding as we speak. And that is? Kakashi asked with a hint of curiosity in his voice. I don't care if I pass, Naruto stated. Without further warning, Naruto threw a roundhouse kick towards the silver-haired Jonin, shocking Kakashi with his speed, prompting the Jonin to shut his book. While the Jonin had blocked the attack, Naruto did not intend for Kakashi to have any further time to react. Naruto threw a quick jab, landing it in Kakashi's stomach. Before the Jonin could retaliate, Naruto withdrew a self-made smoke bomb from his trenchcoat pocket, before activating it, obscuring Kakashi's vision temporarily. Upon the smoke's dispersion, Naruto vanished from sight. Have to be careful, Kakashi thought, keeping himself on guard. Naruto is nothing like his academy report says. It seems that his scientific knowledge isn't the only thing to fear from him. Sakura remained in the bushes, completely stunned by Naruto's performance against Kakashi. What the heck? Sakura thought, since when could Naruto of all people fight so well? Well, inner Sakura cut in, he did beat Sasuke-kun in the academy test. That was a fluke. Sakura thought back, Naruto himself admitted that. Suit yourself, inner Sakura replied, fading into the pink-haired girl's subconscious. Right when Sakura expected it least, a hand placed itself on the pink-haired girl's shoulder, startling her. Slowly turning around to see who it was, Sakura was shocked to see Naruto looking right back at her. "Look," Naruto began to say, not intending for Sakura to rant on, "I know we don't like each other, but we need to pass this exam." "Yeah, and?" Sakura brushed off, "What do you want?" "Please just use your head for once," Naruto requested, slightly irking the pink-haired girl. "Have you ever seen a two-man team?" Seeing Sakura's reluctant agreement on her face, Naruto continued the conversation. "Look, I just need your help with Sasuke." Sasuke stepped atop of a tree branch, only for Naruto to pull the last Uchiha back into the tree. "What the hell was that for?" Sasuke asked, only for Naruto to lift a finger. "Look, you're normally easier to talk to than Sakura, so please don't make this too hard for me," Naruto requested, a request which Sasuke nodded to in curiosity. "Thank fuck this Uchiha isn't like the other Uchiha." "You got me there," Kurama replied. "This Uchiha doesn't seem to be an arrogant jackass." "Anyways, the true point of this test isn't to get a bell," Naruto explained, confusing Sasuke slightly. "It's a test of teamwork. Why else would Kakashi-sensei try to divide us with the goal of a bell?" Sasuke pondered this for a few seconds, before nodding in agreement. "Alright then, Naruto," Sasuke replied, calling the blonde by his name for the first time. "What's the plan?" "It's rather simple," Naruto stated. "I just need you to launch a joint attack on Kakashi-sensei with me, and hopefully, Sakura provides ranged support before popping out of the bushes herself." Minutes later. Looking around, Kakashi attempted to pinpoint the location of the three genin. Suddenly, a kunai came flying out of the bushes, nearly grazing the silver-haired jonin's vest. Using this distraction, Naruto leapt himself off of a tree branch, launching himself towards Kakashi and throwing a kick, one which the jonin blocked with ease. "Something isn't right here," Kakashi thought, commenting on the blonde's clumsiness. As per his thoughts, a large fireball came flying out of the bushes, originating from Sasuke, threatening to consume Kakashi with its flames. Without having much time to consider his next move, Kakashi flung Naruto into a bush, before jumping out of the way of the fireball. Upon landing back on the ground, Kakashi was immediately forced to block a punch from Sasuke. Just as the silver-haired kunai was about to counter, 3 shuriken came flying out of another bush, cutting Kakashi in his right leg, causing him to wince slightly. "This is getting annoying," Kakashi thought in regards to the constant barrage of shuriken and kunai, before noticing Sasuke's sudden disappearance. They seem to be working in sync, however they're far too organized to be a coincidence. Before any further time was allowed for Kakashi to consider, Naruto reappeared from the bushes, forcing the silver-haired jonin to contend with the blonde. Suddenly, the unthinkable happened. Naruto's body suddenly faded into smoke, before giving way for Sasuke to throw a jumping kick towards Kakashi. At the same time, Sakura leapt out of the bushes, armed with a kunai. With the smoke which had once been Naruto's body floating behind Kakashi, Naruto suddenly reconstituted himself, before launching himself at Kakashi. Having no time to react with direct action, Kakashi was forced to leap up, allowing Sakura and Sasuke to get a bell each. "Well," Kakashi began to say, "this test can be considered concluded, Naruto, seeing as you failed to get a bell, you." "Drop the act, Kakashi-sensei," Naruto stated, "we know what this test is about." Kakashi chuckled slightly. "Alright, you got me, this test was about teamwork, which the 3 of you did exceptionally well in. I have to ask," however Kakashi began to ask, turning to Naruto, "what was that technique you used earlier? The one that let you turn into smoke." "That one?" Naruto asked. That was the Iburi clan's bloodline. Seeing his teammates' confused faces, Naruto turned around. "I'll continue to explain tomorrow, I have some stuff to attend to." Before any further questions could be asked, Naruto changed his bodily structure into that of smoke, before floating away. Naruto's apartment. Naruto reconstituted his physical mass in front of the door to his apartment, mentally bracing himself for what he knew was coming. Naruto grabbed onto the doorknob to his door, only for the door to open on its own, leaving Anko in the opening. Giggling slightly, Anko grabbed Naruto, dragging him inside his apartment before closing the door behind the two of them. Entering Naruto's room, Anko tossed the blonde onto his bed, before removing Naruto's trench coat and tossing it onto the coat hanger. "Well then," Anko teased, placing her fingers over Naruto's upper torso, "I hope you seek to honor your promise?" "Well, here we are," Naruto replied, "so I assume we are." Naruto laid on his bed, barely able to remain conscious with a sleeping Anko lying next to him. Suddenly, Naruto could hear giggling within his mindscape. "Kurama-chan, what did you do now?" Naruto asked, almost dreading Kurama's answer. Not much, just took some notes, Kurama replied after giggling, a small blush creeping on her face. Just wait, Naruto-kun. The day I'm free from here I'll show you how I can do better than Enko-chan. Forest, land of waves. Naruto took 2 steps back, flicking his trenchcoat back before reassuming his combat stance. Sniffing the air surrounding him, Naruto closed his eyes, his sea blue pupils fading upon the reopening of the blonde's eyes, his pair of 3-tomo Sharingan now ablaze. Taking his environment into account, Naruto faded into gas, causing his masked opponent's kick to travel past the blonde. Naruto reconstituted his body, before noticing the fatal error he had made. Naruto stared forward, as a Senden's razor-sharp tip slowly approached his neck. This shinobi is showing himself to be a tough adversary, Naruto thought, observing the masked shinobi in front of him. This might cause some trouble. 5 days earlier, late at night. So, Naruto-kun, Enko asked, leaning against the wall, where to? The land of waves, Naruto replied, placing a vial of a solution into a pocket of his black trenchcoat. Or a village there, anyways, we need to protect a bridge builder from mercenaries on the way there. And your team needs you in that mission for? Enko questioned, surely they don't need an entire team of genin to protect someone from simple mercenaries? That's the thing, Naruto stated, placing his trenchcoat on the coat hanger. Something is fishy about that mission. A D-ranked mission wouldn't be this difficult, yet it seems too easy for a C-ranked mission. So you think that someone else will be attacking the bridge builder? Enko asked, to which Naruto nodded. Yes, and that whoever this person is, he or she is incredibly dangerous, and more than likely will outclass everyone on my team in terms of combat ability and experience, besides Kakashi-sensei, Naruto concluded. Enko placed her arms behind her back, slowly turning towards the door of Naruto's apartment. Whatever the case is, you'd better come back in one piece, and while you're at it, feel free to bring anyone back home that would be interesting to hear a voice fight over you with me that originates from a physical organism. Kurama yelled, knowing full well that Enko's mind was now linked to hers. I heard that. And? Enko mentally asked back, what are you gonna do about it? You trying to start something? Kurama argued back. Not now, please, Naruto mentally said to both, let me focus for a bit, then you two can start arguing again. Kurama and Enko nodded in silent agreement, as Enko kissed Naruto goodbye before leaving for the night, leaving Naruto alone in his apartment. Shaking his head from his thoughts, Naruto looked into a specific vial, one with a label distinct from all the rest. 2,6-disopropylphenol. Kurama began to ask, what does that do? If I remember correctly, it contains hydroxide oxygen, bits of carbon, some fluorine, Naruto summarized. It might have also been neutralized and mediated by gamma-aminobutyric acid, at least, I think it should have been. It's great that you know what it's composed of, Kurama remarked, but what does it do? Well, Naruto replied, if we're lucky, we should be able to test it out on the field. That would be considered lucky for you, Kurama began to say. For Enko-chan and I, it would be rather lucky for you to, perhaps, bring a fourth partner into this unique relationship of ours? Kurama teased, causing Naruto to blush slightly. You know? Naruto began to reply, we can't just bring other people into our lives before anyone is brought in. We need to ensure that she is willing to share first. Whoever you bring back, Kurama replied with a wink, one which Naruto felt, considering I'm thousands of years old and Enko-chan's 23, it might be best to bring back someone who's your age. Naruto smirked, as if I'll be able to find someone my age, who is willing to share their lover with 2 other partners, and that they would even be willing to come back to Konoha. Never disregard probabilities, Naruto-kun, Kurama replied, you of all people should know that. We'll see, Naruto finished, placing the vial of the compound into a pocket of his trenchcoat, before picking up another vial. Well, guess I'll have to test this one too, let me see what this contains. Naruto opened his notebook, before flipping it open. Coming to the final page, Naruto began to read the contents of the page. Hydroxycinnamic acid, chlorogenic acid, magnesium. Naruto skimmed, not noticing Kurama's growing laughter, and neutralized by a fair amount of theobromine, an alkaloid. The fuck was I on? What the hell does this do? This was the final straw for Kurama, who broke down into a fit of laughter. What? Naruto asked. Be sure to test that one, Kurama said in between laughter, the effects might be rather interesting. From what I think it does, it might be completely harmless, Naruto replied, before placing the vial in his trenchcoat. Fine, I'll test it out. Oh, this is going to be interesting, Kurama thought. 4 days earlier. Naruto hung upside down on a tree branch, the darkness of dawn obscuring him as he patiently awaited the arrivals of his team and the bridge builder, Tazuna, the client they were meant to protect. Minutes later, Sakura arrived at the village's gate, carrying with her a backpack assumingly filled with equipment. A few more minutes after that, Tazuna, Kakashi, and Sasuke all arrived. "Alright," Kakashi stated, "now we just need to wait for Naruto before we explain the plan." "Humph," Sakura scoffed, "damn idiot can't even be bothered to respect an appointment." Sakura herself had hoped that Naruto did not come with them, which would allow her a chance to be alone on a team with her beloved Sasuke-kun. In stark contrast to this, Sasuke seemed to dread this possibility more than anything, hoping for nothing more than for Naruto to come with them, even if only to keep Sakura away from him. Actually came Naruto's voice from Konoha's gate. Everyone present looked up, only to be met with the shadow of Naruto looming over them, with the blonde himself perched atop Konoha's gate. "I was the earliest one here," Naruto revealed. "Now, what's the plan?" "Tazuna here lives in the Land of Waves, a tributary of Konoha," Kakashi began to explain. "As of recently, however, there have been several groups of mercenaries who will attack those traveling between Konoha and the island and take all their belongings. Our job is to defend Tazuna on the way back to the Land of Waves, and ensure a bridge is built in that island." "Sounds simple enough," Naruto replied. "That's not all our mission entails," Kakashi continued. "On the way there we also have to defeat a group of occultists who have illegally crossed into the Land of Fire from I don't know where from." "That's annoying, for sure," Naruto stated, before turning towards the other side of Konoha's gates. "My god," Tazuna thought, taking a large chug of his bottle of sake, "this team is going to be a nightmare to work with. A blonde that seems so full of himself yet seems like he doesn't care, a girl who screeches in a pitch that hurts my ears, and another kid that seems like he wants to murder everyone on Earth. At least their Jonin-sensei looks promising enough." "Are we leaving yet?" Naruto asked. "Yup, we're departing now," Kakashi announced before the entire team departed from the village's gate. 2 hours into the journey. "This is boring," Naruto thought, looking towards the endless plains. "Kurama-chan, you awake?" "Barely," Kurama muttered, yawning afterward. "What do you need of me, Naruto-kun?" "I need to know how long more until we reach the Land of Waves," Naruto requested. "I'm the nine-tailed demoness," Kurama deadpanned, "not a compass or a map." "I figured as much," Naruto mentally replied, before looking back at his travel companions, who looked just as bored as he did. "This is going to be a long mission, isn't it, Kurama-chan?" "You're right about many things," Kurama replied, "and this one is no different." "Damn it," Naruto thought. "Anyways, what other bloodlines do I have access to?" "Let's see here," Kurama began to say. "Besides the Sharingan, the increased bone density of the Kagaya clan, and the Iburi clan's Kekkei Genkai, you also have access to Scorch Release, Crystal Release, and my Kekkei Genkai, which I've never mentioned to you before." "Which is it?" Naruto mentally asked. "Boil Release," Kurama replied, "but I'll tell you more about it later. You have a lot of riveting walking to get to." Very funny, Naruto thought, as Kurama fell silent. And she did it, brilliant. 6 hours into the journey. Naruto looked around, noticing just how much every one of his travel partners besides Kakashi had lost their focus. This is a grim situation, Naruto thought, before stopping dead in his tracks. Noticing Naruto's halting footsteps, Kakashi stopped as well, before motioning for the other 3 people on this mission to stop as well. Slowly, Naruto placed a hand on the grasslands they were standing on. Suddenly, Naruto dug his right hand into the ground before lifting what was revealed to be a large tarp which was covered with grass, which had obscured a pit filled with many punji sticks, which, from what Naruto could tell, were laced with poison. How did he know? Sakura thought. He probably got lucky. Suddenly, an arrow landed in front of the group, before many more came after then, forcing the group to seek shelter. Are those the occultists? Naruto asked, getting a nod from Kakashi in return. Damn it. Anyone got a plan? Tazuna asked. I sure do, Naruto replied, picking out a vial from a pocket of his trenchcoat. What do you plan on doing? Sasuke asked, forming seals as he spoke. If I tell you, you won't go along it, Naruto replied, placing the vial back into his trenchcoat. Everyone, calm down, Kakashi advised, observing the situation as closely as possible. Whatever you guys do, stay together, and don't lose sight of one another. Kakashi-sensei, Sakura muttered, pointing to where Naruto was. Kakashi turned his head, before being met with the disappearance of Naruto. Damn, Kakashi thought, attempting to locate Naruto. I did not see that coming. Naruto versus the occultists. Naruto appeared in front of the archers, before incapacitating the hooded figures with relative ease. Naruto looked onto the camp, only to hear strange noises from behind him. Naruto turned his head, only to be met with the sight of the occultist standing up once again. What the dash, Naruto thought, only to be cut off as a flurry of arrows came flying towards him. Subconsciously activating his Sharingan, Naruto dodged every single arrow, before catching one of them and throwing it towards an occultist, jamming the arrow into the archer's chest and causing him to collapse to the ground. To Naruto's complete surprise, however, and contradicting Naruto's near-complete knowledge of biology, the occultist stood up once again, before pulling the arrow from his chest. They aren't very good fighters, that much is certain, Naruto thought, punching an occultist in the face before another grabbed him from behind. But they just don't seem to go down. Do they feel pain? Who knows? Naruto continued to think as he slammed the head of an occultist into a tree before being punched square in the face. Unfazed by this, Naruto shook off the blow, before kicking the occultist in the chin, knocking him down. Seconds later, all the occultists stood up once more, seemingly unscathed from Naruto's barrage. Amongst deep breaths for air, Naruto stood up once again, seemingly now armed with a plan. Team 7 and Tazuna, half an hour later. On my signal we leave our positions and assist Naruto, Kakashi ordered, receiving nods from Sakura and Sasuke. 3 Kakashi began to say. Sasuke held out a kunai. 2 Kakashi continued. Sakura held up 3 kunai. 1 Kakashi stated. Kakashi poised himself to leap off the branch he was on. Now, Kakashi announced. All 3 shinobi leaped out of their positions, ready to fight off the occultists, only to arrive at a quiet venue. Instead of many angry and rowdy occultists, the remnants of Team 7 were met with a calm Naruto, standing next to a group of bound occultists. What the dash, Sasuke thought in disbelief, placing his kunai in his pouch. Did Naruto beat them all alone? HMPF, Sakura mentally scoffed, I bet Sasuke could have done the same. Well, mission report, Naruto? Kakashi brought up. Occultists contained, Naruto began to explain, however there's something strange about them. There are human sacrifices littered around their camp, and they don't seem to have the capacity of being injured, truly peculiar. Sasuke smirked, recognizing that Naruto had outperformed him once again. Not bad, my friend, not bad. Can we leave yet? Naruto asked, turning to Tazuna, who had now also arrived next to the group. Can you lead the way? Still shaken, the bridge builder nodded his head, before hastily running to the front of the group. My god, Tazuna thought, that blonde kid is incredible. He doesn't look the part of a shinobi, but his abilities show otherwise. If anything, he may make for the perfect inheritor of the will of the blood god. 2 days earlier, noon. The group had since traveled for 2 days, taking a couple of breaks in between, which had mostly consisted of casual conversation and Sakura being rejected by Sasuke repeatedly. Finally deciding to break the silence, Kakashi spoke up. So, Tazuna-san, Kakashi began to say, what's the purpose of this bridge you're building? Tazuna nearly spat out his sake, a move that had not gone unnoticed by Naruto. Strange, Naruto thought. Well, that bridge makes it easier for my family and me to go on holiday easier, Tazuna explained. That's nice, Kakashi replied, a slight suspicion now making itself clear in his mind. I call bullshit, Naruto thought. You're not wrong, Kurama replied. No one, absolutely no one, uses bridges in the land of waves for holidays. Everyone uses boats. Exactly, Naruto thought, as his eye fell upon a puddle of water on the ground. Now correct me if I'm wrong, it's not the monsoon season, is it? It's not, Kurama replied. Then that puddle of water isn't natural, Naruto analyzed, which means dash. Before Naruto was able to warn his team, 2 figures burst out of the puddle, both of them having bladed chains tied to their wrists. Taking everyone completely off guard, the 2 shinobi wrapped their chains around Kakashi, before tearing the masked Jonin in half, seemingly killing him. Sakura screamed in horror, as Sasuke and Naruto both stepped before Tazuna, who fell unconscious in fear. And the one threat goes down, one of the shinobi muttered, walking forward. Look, kids, you 3 should just go on home and leave the bridge builder with us. From where we stand, you have no hope in hell to defeat us. And where have you gotten this information from? Naruto asked back, a source? If so, is it a credible source? One which is credited as such? If not, I'd say we stand quite a decent chance of defeating you. A smartass, eh? The shinobi asked, holding his arm up. We'll teach you to be so smart. Before anyone did anything, Sasuke dashed towards the second shinobi, successfully plunging a kunai into the shinobi's chest. Taking this as his sign to strike, Naruto threw a punch towards the first shinobi, which was dodged with utmost ease. Taking this as his opportunity, the shinobi jabbed forward with his clawed glove, intent on plunging his arm into Naruto's chest. To his surprise, however, the blonde's body changed into a cloud of smoke, causing the attempted attack to pass through into nothingness. Meanwhile, Sasuke had just leaped over his opponent, dazing the bandaged shinobi. All while this was going on, Sakura stood in front of Tazuna, still shaking in fear while she still felt obliged to defend her team's client. Suddenly, Kakashi re-emerged, before knocking out both enemy shinobi. Nicely done, you three, Kakashi congratulated, placing the two unconscious shinobi on the ground, before turning to Tazuna and narrowing his only visible eye. As for you, Tazuna-san, you have a lot of explaining to do. I don't know what you're talking about, Tazuna stammered. Says the one who called a mission involving two skilled chunin a C-ranked mission, Naruto muttered. If you don't speak up, we'll just turn and go home. With a defeated look on his face, Tazuna sighed, before speaking up. Fine, Tazuna began to explain. My country's trade has been largely taken over by that scumbag of a shipping magnate named Gato. We all have no money due to our economic depression. If I can complete this bridge, we can break this stranglehold over our country. Gato would always hire shinobi gangs to assert his hegemony over our society, even murdering my son-in-law. We would pay for a more expensive mission, but we have insufficient funds. I swear we'll pay up the full price after the mission is over. If anything, this mission has now elevated to the level of an A-ranked mission, Kakashi stated. We have no obligation to continue onwards, so I suppose. No! We continue onwards! Sasuke exclaimed. Sasuke, please try to understand, Kakashi began before turning towards Naruto. What do you think? I don't care, Naruto replied. I guess we can continue. Kakashi sighed before turning towards Sakura, who merely nodded. You three do understand that from here, we could meet shinobi on the same level as me? Kakashi asked. If any of you perish during this mission, it would be in your hands. The three genin nodded before Kakashi turned to Tazuna. Well then, lead the way. Hours later. Now deep into a forest, Naruto noticed a white bunny hopping across the ground. Lifting a hand, Naruto motioned for his companions to stop moving forward. What is it now? Sakura asked, slightly frustrated. There's someone here, Naruto explained. A white rabbit can't be found in the wild, so it likely belongs to someone dangerous, someone skilled, someone who's currently observing our every step as we speak. Duck. Well played, kid, a menacing voice suddenly said, as a large metallic broadsword whirled overhead, one which Team 7 and Tazuna narrowly ducked under. The massive sword jammed itself into the trunk of a nearby tree, as a figure now stood atop its blade, one which Kakashi recognized. Zabuza Momochi, Kakashi stated. Guys, I'll handle this. If things go south, take Tazuna and run. Heck, to be identified by the legendary Kakashi of the Sharingan, the now identified Zabuza began. Such an honor, but even such high praise will not save you. Zabuza formed a single seal, as mist emerged and encased the entire forest. Sharingan? Sasuke thought in confusion. Kakashi looked around, before lifting his headband, revealing the three-tomo Sharingan in his left eye. Wait, what the dash, Sasuke thought, how did he get that eye? Well, that was unexpected, Naruto thought. All of a sudden, Zabuza appeared in the center of the whole group, yanking his massive blade over his shoulder. Before he was able to do anything, Kakashi dashed over, plunging his kunai into Zabuza's stomach. That was kinda easy, Naruto thought to himself. Before anyone was able to react, a second Zabuza appeared behind Kakashi, as the first Zabuza's body dispersed into a body of water, splashing to the ground as the second Zabuza lifted his sword over Kakashi. Shit, Naruto thought to himself. Zabuza slashed at Kakashi, cutting him directly in half, only for the Cyclopean shinobi's body to disperse into puddles of water. Before he was able to do anything or even move, Zabuza felt the distinct feeling of cold metal on his neck. Shocking everyone watching, Zabuza bent his head back, delivering a brutal headbutt into Kakashi's nose, staggering him before the larger shinobi kicked him into the river. Kakashi re-emerged from under the river, standing on the riverbed. Before anyone was able to react, Zabuza appeared behind Kakashi, before encasing him in a sphere of water. So this is how it ends, Kakashi thought to himself, before lifting his head. Guys, take Tazuna and run. Leave me behind. For fuck's sake, Naruto thought, withdrawing a kunai from his pocket. Larynx, spine, lungs, liver, subclavian artery, Kidneys or the heart? A deep voice echoed in the fog. Which should I choose now? This guy's creepy, Sakura thought, clearly shaking in fear. You missed one, Naruto replied, stabbing forwards and plunging his kunai into the neck of one of Zabuza's water clones, the jugular vein which could cause anyone to bleed out within seconds if cut. Never mind that, Sakura thought, Naruto's even creepier. Analyzing the area, Naruto's ears shook slightly, before the blonde raised his kunai, blocking a strike from another one of Zabuza's water clones, shocking the massive shinobi. Not giving up, the water clone attempted to throw a follow-up strike, only to be dispersed by a slash in its throat. That kid is something, isn't he? Zabuza asked, to which Kakashi nodded. You have no idea, Naruto muttered, appearing behind Zabuza. Naruto stabbed downwards with a kunai, threatening Zabuza's exposed liver. Having no other choice, Zabuza leaped away, releasing his grip over the Cyclopean shinobi. Landing back on the water, Zabuza hefted his sword over his shoulder, before performing a large slash against Naruto, who merely smirked in face of this. As the blade was about to slash Naruto in half, the blonde's body dissipated into smoke, causing Zabuza to trip slightly, still in confusion over Naruto's sudden disappearance. Am I going mad? Zabuza asked. Zabuza shook his head, before turning to the released Kakashi and forming seal after seal. Let's end this now. Gladly, Kakashi stated, forming the same seals as Zabuza, shocking him. How are you? Zabuza began, before being cut off by Kakashi. Copying me? Kakashi mocked Zabuza, before continuing the same seals. The Eye of Insight, allowing the user the ability to copy the movements of another flawlessly, Sasuke recited mentally. And the Eye of Hypnotism, allowing the user to cast genjutsu more efficiently, even able to subtly cast genjutsu upon another whether or not the user is aware of this. Zabuza and Kakashi finished their seals, before forming the same finishing seal. Water Release, Water Dragon Bullet Technique. The riverbed rumbled, before the water behind both Zabuza and Kakashi took shape, forming two massive dragons that launched themselves towards each other, clashing against each other in the middle, with no one side able to attain the upper hand. Then again Naruto's voice echoed, causing Zabuza's eyes to widen. No one ever said I was gone. Naruto's body reconstituted behind Zabuza, before the blonde plunged a kunai into the large shinobi's hamstring, causing Zabuza to lose his focus, leading to him being sent flying into a tree by Kakashi's water dragon. My goodness, Tazuna thought, are they even human? Naruto's so strong, but how? Sakura thought, was I wrong about him? Naruto's incredibly strong, Sasuke thought, if that's the case, I must begin training immediately. I can't afford to fall too far behind him. Kakashi walked in front of Zabuza, before holding a kunai to the swordsman's throat. It's over. Do your worst, Zabuza taunted. Gladly, Naruto began to reply, all while walking towards the swordsman, only to be cut off by the sudden introduction of 3 Saban into Zabuza's neck, rendering him lifeless. A lean, masked shinobi landed next to Zabuza, picking up the large shinobi. Sorry for the trouble, but I'm a hunter nin from the Hidden Mist. I've been hunting Zabuza for a while now, so thank you. Before waiting for Team 7's response, the shinobi leapt away. Well, that was unexpected, Naruto thought, attempting to make sense of the situation. In any case, that hunter nin was probably allied with Zabuza as well. Suddenly, a loud thud could be heard behind Naruto. Everyone present turned towards the source of the noise, only to be met with the sight of an unconscious Kakashi. Shaking his head, Naruto walked towards the masked shinobi, before covering Kakashi's left eye with his headband. Finishing this routine, Naruto lifted Kakashi over his shoulder, before turning to Tazuna. Tazuna-san, how far away is your house from here? Naruto asked. About half an hour, Tazuna replied. Then lead the way, Naruto stated. 4 hours ago. It had been a day and a few hours since Team 7 took up refuge in Tazuna's home, now being acquainted with Tsunami, Tazuna's daughter, and Inari, Tazuna's antisocial grandson. With it being a few hours until midnight, Naruto sat atop a large tree in the forest, slowly observing something interesting. Beneath him, a familiar face walked by, seemingly gathering herbs as he did. Intrigued by this, Naruto slowly watched as the hunter nin walked across the forest. 5 minutes ago. Out of nowhere, a bee stung Naruto, causing the blonde to fall into the field below, landing in front of the hunter nin. Staring at the hunter nin for a bit, Naruto noticed something interesting about his soon-to-be opponent. This hunter nin, Naruto thought, seconds before a Saban plunged into his face, she's a female. Oh? Kurama asked as Naruto's body dissipated into smoke, you interested? We'll see, Naruto replied, reconstituting his body in front of the hunter Nin. Alright then, you have 10 seconds to explain what you're doing here. I should be the one asking you that, the hunter Nin replied. Present time. Millimeters away from being stabbed in the neck, Naruto grabbed onto the wrist of the hunter Nin, stopping the stabbing movement entirely. You know, Naruto began to say, confusing the hunter Nin, it would be easier to address you by a name rather than just hunter Nin. HMPF, the hunter Nin scoffed, we'll see if you deserve it first. Fair bet, Naruto thought. I see where this is going, Kurama muttered with a smirk. Forest. Naruto and the hunter Nin remained in a deadlock for a bit, before the hunter Nin broke Naruto's grip over her wrist, jumping back right after she did so. I'd advise you to leave now, the hunter Nin warned, or I'll be forced to use some rather crude and uncivilized methods to force you to. Even out here, Naruto began to say, you guys still aren't above a threat, huh? Maybe, but more than likely, the hunter Nin continued, dashing towards Naruto. I just don't enjoy fighting in worthless skirmishes, really. Me either, Naruto replied, leaping over the hunter Nin. Hell, if I had a choice in the matter, I'd rather not be a shinobi at all. Wait, the hunter Nin stopped to ask, does Konoha force everyone to be a shinobi? Unless you become a medic, conscription for those above the ages of 12 has been a thing in Konoha for years at this point, Naruto began to say. Finding herself distracted, the hunter Nin broke out of her stupor, before dashing over and throwing a punch towards Naruto during the blonde's monologue, only for Naruto to look up and casually catch her punch, surprising the hunter Nin. And I'm no medic, so I have no say in the matter, Naruto finished, before leaning in towards his enemy's masked face, and looking into her eyes through the eye holes in her mask. This is getting progressively more and more awkward, the hunter Nin thought. Oh no, Naruto stated, pulling away, don't worry about any romantic implications I may send towards you, I already have 2 mates. Wait, 2? The hunter Nin asked in shock, is this a Konoha thing as well? Well, no, not quite, Naruto replied, it's more of a biological and zoological thing. This guy's weird, the hunter Nin thought, taking a step back, but still, he's oddly fascinating, from many perspectives. Realizing how their scuffle had suddenly shifted to a casual conversation, Naruto slipped into his stance, before turning to face the hunter Nin. As fun as our conversation has been, it is unfortunate for me to say how I do not have a say in the matter of my duty as a shinobi, Naruto began to explain, before spinning a kunai by its ring, so, I will have to detain you for the time being. Almost forgot that he was an enemy, the hunter Nin thought to herself, withdrawing 3 saban. Without another exchange, Naruto and the hunter Nin dashed at each other, throwing their projectiles at each other, only for Naruto to disperse into smoke upon near contact with the senban, leaving a scratch on his opponent's mark as the only result of that singular maneuver. Naruto reconstituted his body, only to disperse into smoke again upon the emergence of 3 other senban. Stop doing that! The hunter Nin yelled, quickly getting frustrated at her opponent's choice of actions. I don't know, Naruto replied, reappearing in front of his enemy. Aren't shinobi supposed to do this? Hold on, I got a plan. The hunter Nin thought, lifting her mask slightly to reveal her mouth. Could you perhaps help explain the job of a shinobi? Strange request, Naruto stated, but sure, a shinobi is used by most elemental nations as the standard. Naruto began to monologue on about what it means to be a shinobi, only for the hunter Nin to tackle him to the ground, before holding his kunai to his neck. Can't believe that worked, the hunter Nin thought. Damn, how did I fall for that? Naruto thought, maybe I should stop monologuing. Now you could turn to smoke again, the hunter Nin began to say, I fucking hope you don't, but please, I don't want to fight, let alone kill you, I just want to talk. Moments later, the hunter Nin came to realize the compromising position that the 2 of them were in. Blushing slightly under her mask, the hunter Nin would come to find something poking against her thigh. I swear, the hunter Nin growled, that better be a kunai poking my thigh. Wait, that's dangerous! Naruto exclaimed, pushing the hunter Nin off of him before pulling a vial from his pocket. That was lucky, 1 single drop of this would have burned through your body like a hot knife pressed against butter. You're a chemist? The hunter Nin asked. Well, kinda? Naruto replied, standing up before looking up into the sky. Wouldn't necessarily call it my profession, but it keeps my mind off of other things and it also keeps me from communicating with other people. Sounds pretty lonely, the hunter Nin acknowledged. This is it, Naruto-kun. Kurama yelled, she practically asking you to fuck her. That's not how this works, Kurama-chan, Naruto mentally replied. Anko would beg to differ, Kurama purred. Knock it off, Naruto mentally stated, before turning back to the Hunter-nin. It's hard to get lonely when you already have two mates anyways. What is your name? Hesitating for a moment, the Hunter-nin gave in to Naruto's request. Hakuyuki, the Hunter-nin replied. Oh? An ice user? Naruto asked, shocking Haku. How the Haku began to ask, only for Naruto to continue. Read a history book from the mist, Naruto explained. If I remember correctly, you guys are pretty dangerous. Yeah? Well, it got my entire family killed, Haku replied with a tinge of sadness in her voice. If it makes you feel any better, my father died sealing a large beast inside of me, Naruto began to explain, one which led to me being ostracized by most members of Konoha. You've been through some stuff, haven't you? Haku replied. He said that so nonchalantly. Well, you could say that, Naruto stated. I should go now, I've got some stuff to attend to. Wait. Hold on. Haku yelled, only for Naruto to vanish before her eyes. Clever bastard, he got my name, didn't even get his maybe he comes here often. 3 days later, late at night. Haku found herself perched atop a branch, steadily looking ahead and at the several trees around the forest. For the past 3 days, she has had little luck when it came to locating Naruto, so it came as a pleasant surprise when she finally spotted Naruto, laying atop a large tree. Slowly moving towards the tree Naruto was on, Haku patiently positioned herself in the exact spot she had wanted. Naruto thought, thinking about why he was there. Kakashi-sensei said something about training? Before Naruto was able to continue his thoughts, he found himself pulled through the treetop and down onto a large branch. Shaking his head from the shock, Naruto found himself staring into a pair of dark brown eyes and a face adorned by long, black hair. Not fully understanding the situation, Naruto quickly dispersed his body into a cloud of smoke, before reconstituting his body atop of Haku, pinning the female shinobi onto the branch. Whoa! Haku exclaimed, struggling to get free from Naruto's grip. Slow down. It's just me. Oh, my apologies, Naruto muttered. I just didn't expect to be pulled down from a tree. Hee, Kurama giggled softly. What is it now? Naruto mentally asked, almost dreading Kurama's answer. Who would have known you were so bold, Kurama teased, making light of Naruto and Haku's current position. What would you do in this situation? Naruto asked, releasing Haku from his grasp. I don't know. Kurama purred, although I probably wouldn't pin someone as if you were going to, yeah, unless you two intend on engaging in those acts right there and then. Ignoring Kurama's last statement, Naruto helped Haku up, before helping to brush the dust off of her clothes. As much as I appreciate you helping me clean up, Haku began to say, I don't know your name yet, and that's not all. What would your wives think if they saw us just then? I don't mind, but what would they think? I'll address those questions one by one, Naruto replied. My name is Naruto Uzumaki, although my parentage and bloodline are both complicated. As for my wives, one of them dresses incredibly revealing everywhere she goes and would most likely walk up to grope you upon your entering of her line of sight. Hearing this, Haku blushed slightly, picturing the scene in her head. Wait, that's one of them. What about the other? Haku asked. Surely the other one is more sensible? Well, would you like to meet her? Naruto offered, confusing Haku. Pardon me? Haku asked, completely confused by Naruto's offer. Naruto and Kurama mentally snickered, remembering the time Anko had first met Kurama, only this time, they decided to do something different. Ready? Naruto mentally asked. Ready, Kurama replied. Alright, this won't hurt that badly, Naruto assured before placing a finger onto Haku's forehead, causing both to fall unconscious upon contact. Naruto's mindscape. Haku awoke in a vast forest, one slightly different from the one she had just been in prior. Instead of the darkness of nighttime encapsulating the forest, she now found herself in an environment much akin to a sight one would commonly see during springtime. What the dash? Haku asked herself, where am I? You're in my mind, Naruto replied, appearing next to her. Well, I suppose we both are. And this is where your other wife lives? Haku asked. Yup, Naruto stated. Well, where is she? Haku questioned. Naruto looked to the left, as large footsteps appeared and shook the earth. Suddenly, Kurama, bearing her Kyuubi form, burst out of the forest, before running in front of Haku and roaring. What's this? Kurama growled. Did you bring me another meal to feast on? Maybe? Naruto winked. Kurama leaned in close to Haku, before sniffing the girl with her large nose. Not wanting to move a single inch, Haku slowly turned her head towards Naruto. Is this normal? Haku whispered. Kinda? Naruto replied, before turning to Kurama. Kurama-chan, you can turn back now. The large fox nodded, before reverting to her more human-like form. Briefly smiling at Haku, Kurama rushed towards Naruto, before wrapping the blonde in a tight hug, one which Naruto swore crushed multiple of his dense bones. I like this one, Kurama exclaimed, much to Haku's confusion. She's one of the few humans who aren't scared of me. What? Haku asked. That's fine and all, Kurama-chan, Naruto began to say, but I don't think she's very enthusiastic about the idea of sharing her partner with two others. Excuse me? Haku continued to ask. Well, we both remember a time when I was opposed to the idea, Kurama stated, but then again there is always a way to convince others. You guys know I'm still here, right? Haku stated, causing both Naruto and Kurama to turn towards her. So Naruto continued. What's your assessment of the situation? Kurama asked. Could I consider it for a bit first? Haku asked nervously, scratching the back of her head. It would be the first time I've ever had a relationship like this, and to share my partner with two others, that just feels strange, doesn't it? Suit yourself, Naruto assured. I'll be eagerly awaiting your decision, Haku, Kurama purred, before sending both Naruto and Haku out of the former's mindscape. Real world. Well, that sure was an experience, Haku admitted, before turning to Naruto. Look, whatever decision you make, Naruto began to say, positioning himself to leap away, I do hope you make the one that's best for you. Without awaiting the ice user's response, Naruto leaped away into an unknown location, leaving behind a thinking Haku. Haku thought, her mind completely conflicted by the previous series of events. I can't bring myself to betray Zabuza-sama, but I can't bring myself to kill Naruto either. What happens if, during our next clash, I have to fight Naruto-kun? Haku paused for a bit, blushing upon the realization of what she had mentally addressed Naruto as. Damn it, Haku thought, he probably doesn't even think that much of me. That wife of his was quite the beauty. What would I be to him? I can't believe it, he's got two wives already, but yet I'm falling for him. 1 week later, midnight. Naruto, Haku muttered, looking down from the treetop she was perched on. Why wait, that's not right. What motivates you to train as a shinobi? I know you do not like to be a shinobi, but your strength was not given to you during your birth, so why do you intend on getting stronger? That's quite the question, Naruto murmured, considering the best approach to reply to that question. I suppose I have no answer for that question. Perhaps I can rephrase that question, Haku stated. What do you see as the purpose of your life? So you're asking me about what I think the meaning of life is? Naruto asked. Essentially, yes, Haku replied. Naruto muttered, considering what his answer to Haku should be. A long time ago I considered my life to be meaningless. I just lived in an orphanage for most of my life and was mostly ignored by most people, I guess. Well, this is getting kinda dark, Haku thought. What made me change my mind about my life, Naruto continued, was learning about my heritage. It was at that point in my life that I learned the harsh truth of this world. Life has no inherent meaning. The meaning of life is made dependent on every individual living being in the world. For an animal, the meaning of its life could be to endlessly prey on the carcasses of dead animals, such as vultures or hyenas, or the meaning of an animal's life could be to endlessly expand its territory and to defeat every rival it could, such as a tiger or a lion. Well, this took a turn, Haku thought. For humans, some people use their lives to nurture and to grow further life on the lands of which we roam, Naruto explained. Some use their lives to create, while others use their lives to destroy, to tarnish, and to eliminate all progress made by civilization. How would you describe yourself on this spectrum? Haku asked, unsure of how Naruto would take to this question. Well, I'm not the best person on earth. My blood is tainted by both the sins and virtues of 1,000 bloodlines before me. I guess I dedicate my life to helping progress humanity in terms of science, even if only to ensure innovation continues. Naruto explained. That, Haku began to say, completely blindsided by Naruto's given answer, that is a noble cause. To ensure humanity doesn't remain stagnant, especially on the shoulders of one person, that is one of the greatest duties anyone could assume. In that case, what would you say is yours? Naruto asked back, what do you intend to do with your life? Well, I would say that I want to protect, Haku replied without hesitation. It is through protecting that one truly becomes strong. Who do you intend to protect? Naruto asked. We'll come to find out, won't we? Haku asked, winking as she did so, before putting on her mask and leaping away. HMPF, interesting, Naruto thought, before leaping onto a branch. Guess I'll spend the night here. My team doesn't exactly appreciate the fact that I wander off every day. An hour later. Deep in his sleep, Naruto failed to realize the approaching presence of Haku. Cautiously approaching the blonde, Haku looked around, removing her mask before planting a small kiss on the sleeping Naruto's forehead. We're attacking the bridge builder tomorrow, Haku whispered. I pray that I do not have to face you in a fight to the death. Shedding a single tear, Haku quickly leapt away, leaving behind a sleeping Naruto. Inwardly, Kurama smirked. While her host had been oblivious to the previous series of events, she had been fully aware of the situation. Kurama thought, she loves him, yet it seems she just needs a nudge in the right direction. In any case, things should be interesting tomorrow. The next morning. Good to see you showing up to the team meeting, Naruto, Kakashi acknowledged, knowing full well that Naruto would rather be anywhere else but here. Anyhow, we are going to be escorting Tazuna back to the bridge today, and I would like you to be there, Naruto. That's fair enough, Naruto muttered, but I'm pretty sure that Gato might send someone to, how should I say, cut off the head of the snake? You get what I mean? Kakashi placed his fingers on his chin, before nodding silently. It's settled then, Kakashi stated. Sasuke, Sakura, you two come with me, we'll escort Tazuna to the bridge. As for Naruto's role in this operation, he will stay at the house for a bit. If anyone comes, eliminate them, before coming to the bridge to help us. If no one comes by midday, just come to the bridge to assist us. In any case, the bridge should be clear today, so don't rush to help us. No problem, Naruto replied, leaping onto the rooftop. Could never get a read on that guy, Sasuke thought. Around the same time, Zabuza's hideout. Tying her hair neatly into a bun, before picking up her mask and looking into it, internally considering if she wanted to participate in the upcoming confrontation. Haku! Zabuza called out, it's time to go. Not answering by words, Haku placed her mask over her face, before leaping out of the window to approach the bridge with Zabuza, who could notice something strange about her performance. She seems to be off her game today, Zabuza thought, before shaking his head of these thoughts. He had a job to do, no matter how grim the job was to be. Tazuna's house, an hour later. Naruto perched himself atop the rooftop, patiently waiting for anything of interest to happen. Before long, something would happen, or at least start to happen. A knock could be heard on the door. As Naruto looked down from the rooftop, he was met with the sight of 4 armed mercenaries. Bridge. As Kakashi, Sakura and Sasuke approached the bridge with Tazuna, Kakashi and Sasuke picked up on a scent that was all too familiar to them. The copper-like scent of blood, specifically blood that had just been bled. Accompanying the scent of blood was a thick fog over the bridge. Zabuza's here, Kakashi identified. Smart, Zabuza acknowledged, slowly stepping out of the fog alongside the masked Haku. Let's see if you saw this one coming. 2 water clones shaped in Zabuza's image appeared suddenly out of the fog, dashing at the group as if on cue. Without a moment's hesitation, Sasuke withdrew 2 kunai, before dispersing both clones with utmost ease. Before he was given a moment to recover, Haku dashed towards the last Uchiha, before landing a kick onto the raven-haired boy's chin, throwing him back slightly. Tazuna's house. Inside the house, Tsunami stood at the sink, washing dishes and cutlery as Inari went to answer the door. Before Inari was even granted the ability to place his tiny fingers upon the doorknob, the door flung open, smacking him in the face and knocking him back. Inari, go to your room, Tsunami ordered in a whisper. Come with us now, one of 2 thugs ordered. Tsunami stood still, washing one of her many kitchen knives. Why should I do that? Tsunami asked, placing the knife in its holster before moving on to a plate. A smart mouth, huh? Another mercenary asked, slowly approaching the woman. Perhaps we can have some fun with you. Before any of the mercenaries were able to move on their threat, an ear-piercing scream was heard from their right flank. Immediately turning to see what had happened, they were only met with the sight of the dead bodies of one of the mercenaries. What the one mercenary began to ask, only to be cut off. The 2 remaining mercenaries and Tsunami turned to the mercenary, only to notice his mysterious death, especially the utter brutal sight of the cutting of his vocal cords. Okay, what is going on? The 3rd mercenary asked, only for him to be cut down by the same mysterious force. Slightly shaken, the mercenary attempted to run out of the door, only to be caught by the arm from the ceiling. Naruto hung upside down from the ceiling, armed with a scalpel. If there's any type of person I utterly despise on this earth, Naruto began to say, before slashing the neck of the mercenary with his scalpel, it would be people who threaten rape. Noticing how his opponent had now fallen limp, Naruto dropped the man's carcass onto the hardwood floor below, before turning to Tsunami. My apologies, Tsunami-san, Naruto began to say, I've caused quite the mess here. It's fine, Naruto-san, Tsunami replied, you saved me a lot of trouble there, I'll clean up from here. Naruto nodded, before vanishing from sight. Bridge. Round 2 Kakashi, Zabuza declared, rushing out of the fog with his eyes shut. Sakura, Kakashi yelled. Whatever you do, do not leave Tazuna's side. Too little too late, Zabuza muttered, appearing behind Zabuza. Within seconds, Kakashi dashed towards the swordsman, blocking the oncoming slash with a kunai. I don't suppose you feel the sting of our previous bout? Kakashi mocked. Ha! Zabuza laughed, his eyes remaining shit. Save your mockery, the same trick doesn't work on the same person twice. Naruto. Naruto leapt across branches, considering what approach he should take to counter Zabuza and Haku's later assault. Assuming Kakashi engages Zabuza again, Naruto began to think, I would have to face Haku. Sasuke can't do much against her, let alone Sakura. Wait, Naruto-kun! Kurama yelled, I have a plan. I swear if your plan involves kissing her or something, Naruto began to say, only for Kurama to cut him off. Just shut up and listen. Kurama yelled, remember that substance of which you had no idea what it did. Naruto reached around, before pulling out the vial. Dip your kunai in that, Kurama advised, it should give you an edge. And if it doesn't? Naruto asked, dipping the edges of his kunai with the strange substance. Then you'd better hope you can stand against her, Kurama stated, slowly fading into Naruto's subconscious. Good luck. Welp, Naruto thought, storing the vial in his pocket before continuing his journey. At least I'll get to test what that does. Sasuke vs. Haku. Both shinobi clashed in the center of the battleground, Sasuke pushing all of his might onto his kunai strike while Haku barely broke a sweat, blocking with her Senbon, sparks flying as their metallic weapons gride against each other. He's tough, Sasuke thought, not knowing of Haku's actual gender. Where is Naruto? Haku pondered, her thoughts quickly drifting away from the fight she had been in. Noticing his enemy's lack of focus or interest in the fight, Sasuke threw a punch, only for his fist to be caught by Haku with ease, the ice user smirking under her mask. Letting go of her grip over Sasuke's fist, Haku formed several seals with her free hand. What the Sasuke thought, shocked by the ice user's display, how is he doing this? How is he forming seals with one hand? Secret technique, Haku thought as the puddle the two were standing on began to condense into needles, 1,000 needles of death. Within seconds, the needles launched themselves towards Sasuke, all of them meeting their mark and plunging their sharp tips into his flesh. Unable to continue the fight, Sasuke fell to the ground, seemingly falling unconscious. Haku turned away, only to catch a kunai coming up behind her. Turning around, she was met with the sight of an injured Sasuke. That wasn't very wise, Haku muttered in a monotone voice. I'll be sure to punish you for that mistake. Haku stepped backwards before forming several unique hand seals, causing the water on the ground to condense, before freezing over completely and taking the shape of many crystal mirrors. Impossible, Sasuke thought as Haku backflipped into one of the mirrors before her likeness appeared in all of the mirrors. So on a scale of 1 to 10 came Haku's voice, as all her reflections in the mirror held up their Senbon. How fucked are you? What the hell is the talking about? Sasuke thought, not exactly understanding what Haku was intending to do as Senbon began to rain down upon him. Cut after cut, Sasuke attempted to dodge or intercept the Senbon, all to no avail as he quickly learned that for every Senbon he intercepted or dodged, 5 more would quickly plunge their sharp edges into his flesh. Suddenly, Haku dashed out of the mirror behind Sasuke, tackling him to the ground. Not giving him any time to react, Haku began to repeatedly punch the pinned Sasuke with relentless fury, while blocking every one of Sasuke's attempted strikes. Before she was able to continue, Haku found her arm restrained. You've finally arrived, Haku muttered, looking up at Naruto. Miss me? Naruto joked, making sure that his teammates had not heard that statement. Very much so, Haku mentally replied, doing well to ensure Naruto's teammates did not know about their meetings, before leaping backwards. You alright, Sasuke? Naruto asked, helping the raven-haired boy up. Do I look alright? Sasuke joked. In all seriousness, do not take him lightly, he's really strong. Take a break, Naruto advised, I'll take it from here. Naruto watched as Sasuke ran to Sakura's side, before turning to Haku. Now then, Naruto began to say, holding up a kunai as the ice user jumped back into a mirror, may I have this dance? Haku faintly blushed under her mask, before holding up a Saban in every mirror. Interesting, Naruto thought, observing each mirror as long as possible, before activating his Sharingan. Before long, Saban began to rain down upon the blonde, just like what had happened to Sasuke prior. Unlike Sasuke's prior situation, Naruto was able to dodge each Saban as they approached him. Keeping himself on the defensive, Naruto leapt next to a mirror, before pulling Haku out of the mirror. What? Haku exclaimed, leaping up. How did you do that? Within each throwing interval, your arm comes out of the mirror for a few seconds, Naruto explained, before ducking under two oncoming Saban. That would be how I pulled you out of the mirror. Naruto formed a seal. Anyways, wanna see something interesting? Not in particular, Haku replied. Welp, too late, Naruto stated, before forming several clones. With a clone facing every one of the mirrors, each formed its seals. Haku watched on, as each clone's cheeks puffed up greatly. Vapor style, solid fog technique, Naruto stated calmly. Before she had any time to react, Haku watched as each of Naruto's clones exhaled a visible steam-based breath, melting all of her mirrors with what seemed to be utmost ease. Upon the melting of all the mirrors, Naruto turned to Haku as his clones dispelled. Surrender yet? Naruto asked. Haku thought, assuming his technique is based on the heat of his breath, I got it. Alright, Haku began to say, pulling 6 Saban from her pockets, I'll surrender if you can catch me. Before Naruto was able to react, Haku leapt away from the blonde, forcing Naruto to rapidly pursue Haku. Dodging several Saban coming his way, Naruto returned the favor by throwing a laced kunai towards Haku, slashing the ice user in her arm, causing traces of the substance to enter the wound. Something doesn't feel right, Haku thought, placing a hand over her wound. Forest. Chasing Haku deep into the forest they had met in, Naruto found himself face to face with the ice user, who seemed to begin sweating. Why did it suddenly get so hot? Haku thought, slightly loosening her clothing before removing her mask and throwing it into the ground. End of the line, Naruto. Nowhere left to run? Naruto asked. That's right, Haku started, holding up several Saban. Well then, Naruto replied with a smirk, I'll just throw some stuff at you then. What? Haku asked in confusion. Without stating another word, Naruto withdrew a vial of fluoroantimonic acid which he had created, before throwing it at Haku, only for the ice user to break the vial with a Saban mid-air, causing the liquid to pour onto the floor, burning through the ground deep into the earth. That was lucky, Haku thought, preparing a second Saban. Naruto flung another vial at Haku, this time that of the vial of 2,6-disopropylphenol, of which he had no idea the usage of. Unfortunately for the blonde, the liquid contained within the vial would spill on the floor, wasting itself on the grass below. That was a waste, Naruto thought, pulling out the final vial in which he had earlier dipped his kunai in. Let's see how you do with this one. Naruto flung the vial towards Haku, this vial getting closer and closer to Haku's face, before the ice user destroyed the vial with a Saban, only for the puddle of liquid to fall to the ground, with some drops landing on her face. Wiping the drops off of her face, Haku began to sweat more and more, as she unintentionally inhaled the fumes emerging from the strange substance. I can't take this any more, Haku thought, her mind drawing several blanks as she did so, turning her gaze fully towards Naruto. Just as Naruto was going to pull another vial from his pocket, Haku lunged at Naruto, tacking the blonde to the ground. Naruto quickly found himself staring straight into the ice user's eyes, only realizing what was truly happening to his adversary. Damn it, Kurama-chan, Naruto thought, reluctantly dropping his vials of chemicals. Well played. Hey, Kurama smirked, let's see how you do in a non-typical fight, Naruto-kun. Minutes later, Haku quickly got dressed again, with Naruto helping to eliminate all signs of their activity from her hair. In hindsight, that wasn't very great for us to do, Haku murmured, after all, it only happened because of some chemical. That's not actually how it works, Naruto replied, catching Haku's attention. That chemical doesn't seduce one's mind into wanting to engage in intercourse with a member of the opposite gender, but rather, it helps to amplify the pre-existing desires of a person, meaning that. Knowing full well what Naruto meant, Haku immediately turned a deep shade of red. Besides that, what is your response to Kurama-chan's offer? Naruto asked. Well, Haku began to say, placing a hand on Naruto's face, as long as it's with you, I'll be willing to share with anyone. That's great, Naruto replied. We should get going now, we're running rather late. Haku nodded before the two leapt back towards the bridge. Well then, Kurama thought, that was an interesting series of events. Naruto and Haku. As the two recent lovers were leaping back towards the bridge, both couldn't help but blush upon thinking about the activity they had just prior taken part in. Suddenly, Naruto stopped in his tracks. Come here a second, Naruto ushered, which Haku obeyed, walking towards Naruto. Naruto placed a hand on the ice user's head, before pulling out what seemed to be a leaf. Why was there a leaf in my hair anyway? Haku asked. No clue, Naruto replied, before placing his lips over hers, taking Haku completely by surprise. Seconds later, Naruto broke the kiss. We can't go back like this. Everyone needs to think that we were fighting in the forest, so here's the plan. Bridge 10 minutes later. Kakashi was not meeting any success concerning his fight against Zabuza. He was holding his own against the swordsman, yes, that much could be ascertained, but how long more he could do it remained to be seen, for the Cyclopean shinobi now found himself running low in terms of chakra, with the loan he possessed proving itself to be a large drain of chakra. Let's hope that Naruto is doing alright, Kakashi thought, blocking a slash from Zabuza, whose eyes remained firmly shut. What's wrong, Kakashi? Zabuza sneered. Can't put up much of a fight without that blonde helping you. I should say the same about you, Kakashi began to say. Where's the hunter Nin to help you when you need it the most? Without warning, a water clone of Kakashi emerged behind Zabuza, only for the swordsman to land a kick upon the clone, dispersing it with ease. He's not wrong, Zabuza thought. Haku has been occupied with that guy for quite a while by now. He must prove to be a difficult opponent. Before much longer, two figures entered the fog, one held by the other, the one being held having the privilege of having a kunai pointed towards their neck. As they slowly came into view, both Kakashi and Zabuza, the latter having just opened his eyes, could recognize who the two were. Zabuza, Naruto began to say, the cuts riddled over his face and forearm lay bare for all to see as he held a kunai to the unmasked Haku's neck. I suppose you recognize the situation here? So you've beaten Haku, Zabuza murmured. She stinks of arousal, Kakashi mentally noted, before piecing things together. How the hell did he, you know what? Never mind, he still ended up beating the hunter Nin. By now, Zabuza had caught a whiff of this scent too, as the rage built up within him regarding the implications. You didn't, Zabuza growled, holding up his broadsword. And what if I did? Naruto mocked, releasing Haku before facing Zabuza. Son of a bitch, Zabuza muttered before disappearing into the fog. All according to plan, Haku thought. Naruto and Haku, 10 minutes prior. So what's the plan? Haku asked. Simple, Naruto replied, cutting his cheek and arm with a kunai. We're gonna pretend that we were having a brutal battle in the forest earlier. And then? Haku asked. I'll hold the kunai to your neck. We walk into the fog, Naruto explained. I'm pretty sure you know what comes next. You're assuming that Zabuza will surrender? Haku asked. I don't think he will. That's what I'm banking on, Naruto revealed. Zabuza wouldn't just surrender like that. What I'm hoping for is that he'll rush me. Adding on to that would be his sense of smell. Considering he had his eyes closed, he would probably smell our fluids. And you're gonna fight Zabuza? Haku asked, cutting a small wound onto her cheek. Well, fight is an interesting way of putting it, Naruto continued, but yes, I will confront Zabuza. I get it now, Haku replied. You're hoping that you can tire out Zabuza, and since he is enraged, he probably will, and then, I guess you're hoping for me to step in to mediate? Yes, you're not wrong, Naruto stated, standing up. Ready? Ready, Haku replied, before leaping away with Naruto. Present day. Naruto found himself in the center of the fog, finding himself locked into a solo duel with Zabuza, considering how Kakashi had been far too spent to act, while Haku had chosen to remain neutral. Suddenly, Zabuza's massive blade swiped through the air, only for Naruto's body to disperse into smoke before any harm was able to be done towards the blonde. Stay still, kid! Zabuza yelled. Why? Naruto asked. You have something against love? I do not, Zabuza stated, grabbing the blonde by the throat as Naruto reconstituted his body, but I do have something against those who impose themselves upon others. Seeing a way in which he could use this to his advantage, Naruto intentionally remained in his physical form, forcing him to take the full force of Zabuza's chokeslam of his body into the bridge, parts of it crumbling under the impact. "Alright," Naruto began to say, pulling out a vial, "no turning back now." Catching this with the corner of his eye, Zabuza quickly pulled away from his foe just as Naruto flung the vial towards the swordsman. Seconds before the vial would make contact with the swordsman's face, Zabuza swiftly chopped the vial in half, only for the liquid in the vial to spill out, before immediately combusting into a large cloud of flames, with most of the flames present on the blade of Zabuza's broadsword. "So that's what it does," Naruto murmured, standing back up. With the flames still present on his blade, Zabuza slashed at Naruto with all his might, the force of the swing throwing what chemicals that had remained on the blade off of it, only for the blonde to disperse into smoke once again. "Stand still, and let me take your head off of your shoulders," Zabuza yelled, only for Naruto to reconstitute his body in front of the swordsman. "Fine then," Naruto stated, dropping his weapons on the ground, "behead me, then." "Gladly," Zabuza sneered, slowly walking towards Naruto. "Just take note," that Naruto began to say, as Zabuza lifted his sword before slashing at Naruto's neck. "It was all Haku's idea to engage in passionate activities. Imagine how she would feel if you cut my head off, right here, and right now." With the tip of Zabuza's blade a few millimeters away from Naruto's neck, the swordsman stopped in his tracks, before turning towards Haku. "Haku," Zabuza began to say, "is he telling the truth?" Blushing slightly, Haku nodded, confirming Naruto's previous remarks, stunning Zabuza. So that's how it is," Zabuza stated, jamming his sword into the ground. "You're lucky, kid. Haku seems to genuinely be infatuated by you." Zabuza turned to Haku. "And it's especially lucky you said something when you did, Haku, else your boyfriend here would be left headless." Right before Naruto had been able to reply, the three were cut off by a series of slow and steady claps, which rang across the bridge. "That bastard," Zabuza muttered, as Naruto turned his head, coming face to face with Gato, who had a large army of thugs standing behind him. "Demon of the Mist?" Gato mocked. "What a joke." "The hell are you doing here?" Zabuza asked. "Well, you and your tool have proven yourselves to not be worth the money that would be needed to pay you," Gato stated, "so this is the second best solution." The army of thugs began walking forwards as Naruto, Haku, and Zabuza stood to face them. "Kill them all," Gato ordered. "We'll see about that," Naruto muttered, gritting his teeth. "Kakashi-sensei, you still have anything left in you?" "I'll do my best," Kakashi assured, stepping forwards. "You won't court-martial me if I say," Naruto began to say, "left no prisoners?" "Not the time," Kakashi remarked, although it is good that he is starting to joke around. Naruto sighed, before stepping forward slowly, those slow steps quickly speeding up. Upon approaching the group of mercenaries, Naruto leaped forwards, using the head of one mercenary as a platform before landing a punch onto another mercenary, knocking both out cold. Suddenly, a mercenary brought down a pipe over Naruto's back, only for the blonde to block with his forearm, snapping the pipe in half. "He's good at this," Haku thought, launching a saban into the skull of one of the mercenaries. Upon his breaking of the pipe in half, Naruto quickly pulled his arm back, before throwing a punch into the face of the assailant, knocking several teeth out of the man's mouth. Seconds before several blades could bring down their slashes upon him, Naruto threw a smoke grenade on the ground he stood on, allowing him to disappear while also stunning the three mercenaries at the same time. "I may not use kunai," Naruto thought, before pulling out two scalpels, "but I know damn well these are much sharper." Appearing behind one of the mercenaries, an ear-piercing scream could be heard as Naruto slashed at the tendons of the mercenary, causing him to lose his footing before the blonde vanished once again. Before anyone was aware of what was going on, Naruto appeared behind another mercenary, before plunging both scalpels into the flesh between the man's scapula and clavicle, causing him to fall to the ground in pain. Suddenly, the third mercenary emerged from the smoke, attempting to grab the blonde, only for Naruto to plunge a scalpel into the man's palm, before backflipping and kicking the man, knocking him out. With a surgeon's precision no less, Kakashi mentally observed, backhanding a mercenary. 10 minutes later. Only two mercenaries stood in Naruto's way, both of which shook upon seeing the battle-worn blonde. Naruto walked towards the two, literally licking his wounds as he readied a new pair of scalpels. Before any of the mercenaries were able to react, Naruto's movements sped up into a blur, before two long cuts were dealt to the two mercenaries, incapacitating both of them, leading Naruto to come face to face with Gato, who stumbled in fear. "Wait!" Gato yelled moments before Naruto plunged a scalpel into the man's throat. "Don't kill me! I'll do anything! I'll give you anything!" Go on, Naruto stated, pulling a vial from his trenchcoat, before plunging the two scalpels into the lowlife's ankles, immobilizing him. Please, Gato pleaded, I'll give you money. Women. Power. Not interested, Naruto replied nonchalantly, before spilling the contents of the vial onto Gato's face, the acidic liquid immediately melting past the man's skin and skull, ending his life within seconds. Standing up, Naruto turned around as Zabuza approached him. Nice work, kid, Zabuza acknowledged. I have a request to ask of you. You want me to take Haku with me? Naruto asked. I want you to take, Zabuza began to say before cutting himself off. How did you? I have a rather observant pair of eyes, Zabuza-san, Naruto replied in a non-condescending manner. I can tell that you are a battle-hardened shinobi, one who wouldn't hesitate to kill. This contrasts Haku greatly, seeing as how she seems to throw up just on the thought alone. Your tone also gives away your request, that of a father figure, one who wants his child to have a better life. Zabuza was stunned. Within seconds, this boy who seemed not much older than Haku managed to decipher his entire plan. Perhaps Haku did choose well, Zabuza thought. Well played, although there was one thing you didn't manage to guess. It was Haku who had suggested the idea. Really? Naruto asked. Well, yeah, Haku murmured, a blush forming on her face. I can't think of life now where I am apart from you, Naruto-kun. Take care of her for me, kid, Zabuza requested. Keep her safe, and if things go well, we may meet each other again soon, hopefully. By then, you don't use such strange tactics to best others in combat. 2 weeks later, Konoha. So, Hiruzen began to say, attempting to wrap his head around the report Kakashi had just given him. You're saying that the bridge was completed, that the two shinobi who originally were out to get Tazuna were befriended, with one of them wanting to join the village and live with Naruto, and that the mission turned out to be an A-ranked mission. That's right, Kakashi confirmed. Anything else? Hiruzen asked. What about individual reports? Well, starting with Sakura, I'd say that she was very capable of completing the chakra control task while showing minor improvements in terms of combat ability. With Sasuke, he showed exceptional selflessness, as well as admirable combat abilities while being able to perform strategically in a fight, Kakashi began to explain, although Naruto overshadowed both of them in this mission. He showed remarkable combat abilities, a brilliant strategic mind, as well as some sort of instinctual call to action as if this mission would be his last. Most impressive, Hiruzen acknowledged. Well then, a job well done, Kakashi. You and your team have earned yourselves a well-deserved rest. Naruto and Haku. Now, this situation may be awkward unless we can get a second bed, Naruto mentioned as the two entered his apartment. Can't we share a bed? Haku asked. Well, that's not an option, Naruto replied, pointing towards his bed. It's too small, and I've already tried that before. It was not fun. Speaking of which, where is your other mate you mentioned? Haku asked. Behind you, since the moment you came in, Naruto stated. Haku turned around, only for Anko to lunge at the ice user, trapping Haku in a tight hug, while taking the opportunity to grope the girl. You're so cute, Anko remarked. My name's Anko. I take it that you're joining our large family? Now, Anko, Naruto stated, she needs oxygen to breathe. Oops, sorry about that, Anko replied, letting go of Haku. I take it that you're the same age as Naruto? Yes? Haku replied, not knowing how Anko would reply. That's fresh, Anko remarked. Both me and Kurama-chan are older than Naruto-kun. Speaking of which, what is your name? Hakuyuki, Haku stated. Now, if you don't mind, Anko-chan, Naruto interjected, we're leaving to get a bed for Haku while also showing her around the village. No problem, Anko stated. Have fun. But make sure you two don't go fucking in the streets. Naruto and Haku both blushed, before leaving their shared apartment. Naruto apartment, midnight. Awakening in the middle of the night, Naruto found the bed he was lying in cold, incredibly cold. Turning to his right, Naruto saw how the sudden introduction of a low temperature did not interrupt the sleeping Haku in the slightest. Well, can't say that I couldn't see that one coming, Naruto thought, getting out of their shared bed. You alright, Naruto-kun? Kurama asked, lightly yawning. I'm fine, Kurama-chan, Naruto replied. I will need to investigate the sudden drop in temperature though. Maybe Haku-chan could explain? Kurama suggested. She does seem to be unaffected, after all. Well, it is highly unlikely that she could provide any logical answer, Naruto began to say. She just so happens to use ice chakra and comes from a family of ice users. Didn't think that statement through, my apologies. It's alright, Naruto-kun, Kurama replied. Now if you don't mind, I'll go back to sleep now. Naruto nodded, before slowly walking towards the sleeping Haku. Without making a single noise, Naruto gently placed a hand over her forehead in an attempt to detect the amount of heat that her body produced, only to realize how cold her forehead was. Wait, her body felt warm when Naruto began to think, well, when she was conscious, her body feels warm, that would mean that she subconsciously produces this cold energy. But I assume the rapid burning and breaking down of glucose and other nutrients in her body make it so that it heats up, which would mean that she's probably the one that produced this cold environment. Coming to his conclusion, Naruto tapped Haku on the shoulder, prompting the ice user to slowly open her sleepy eyes. Is it morning already? Haku muttered. No, it just hit midnight, Naruto replied. Probably would be considered morning if we both joined some sort of death cult, Naruto joked, getting a chuckle from Haku, but that would just be illogical. Somewhere, in an alternate universe. Sleeping in the same bed with Sakura and Anko, Naruto suddenly awoke from his slumber, before sneezing repeatedly. You alright, Foxy-kun? Anko teased, or is that Hanyu physiology letting you down? It's probably some asshole talking about me, probably that damn Uchiha, Naruto dismissed. As for my physiology, you should know by experience that it performs far above expectations. Well, you're not wrong there, Anko replied with a blush, as Sakura looked on from the side. I wonder when it'll be our turn, Inner brought up, causing Sakura to turn a deep shade of crimson. Back and born different. Anyways, Naruto began to say, besides that, I wanted to ask you something. Before that, did you just use 2 different sentence starters? Haku asked. What? Naruto asked back. Well, usually we start sentences with just one, either just anyways or besides that, Haku began to explain, so I just got confused on why you used 2. Well, I never exactly learned how to communicate properly with other people, Naruto replied. Anyways, do you exert a cold temperature when sleeping? Pardon? Haku asked in a bewildered tone. It's just that I'm pretty sure your body subconsciously produces some sort of cold energy, which might be an effect of your unique chakra working constantly. Naruto began to give his hypothesis, which could essentially be explained as a reflex action, or an involuntary action that's exclusive to you. Okay, that's cool and all, Haku began to say, but could you use simpler terms to explain? Well, first of all, that's not an explanation, that's a hypothesis, Naruto began to say. Secondly, I'm not done yet. Wait, what? Haku asked. Essentially, hormones in your body react to some sort of chemical reaction, which may be a result of the breaking down of excess ice chakra in your body, Naruto continued. Your body does produce heat, as for how I know, well, we both know how I know, but essentially, your body produces more heat when you're conscious, due to the breakdown of chemicals like glucose to provide your body with enough energy. Before Naruto was allowed to finish, Haku placed her lips over his, before flipping him onto their bed. Will that shut you up, Naruto-kun? Haku asked with a smirk. Naruto smirked in response, before dispersing into smoke and reconstituting his body above Haku, pinning her onto their bed. Wouldn't try that again, Haku-chan, Naruto replied. Anko-chan already tried that once, and it didn't work before. Haku flicked her hair backward before biting her lip. What are you going to do now? Haku asked. Keep me in this position? Wouldn't you like to know? Naruto asked back, as he brought his face up to hers. Getting frisky now, are we? Came Anko's voice, preventing both teenagers from escalating the situation, at midnight no less. Would you like to join? Haku offered. Unfortunately, that's not why I'm here, Anko replied, her voice in an unusually serious tone. I appreciate the offer though. Naruto sat up. What's the matter, Anko-chan? I would explain, Anko began to say, but could you turn on the lights first? I can't see anything. Oh wait, Naruto replied, standing up and turning on the lights. My apologies for that. Now, what do you need? I've always wanted to know, Anko began to say as she pointed towards the marking on the left side of her neck. Could you do anything about this? What the hell is that? Haku asked. The curse seal of heaven, Naruto replied. It was applied by Orochimaru. Naruto continued, spitting the name of the snake Sannin, venom clear in his tone. It grants the user great power. Well, it's supposed to anyways, but it comes at the cost of the user's psyche and being at the mercy of Orochimaru. So, could you remove it? Anko asked. I'll do my best, Naruto assured, walking towards his work table and picking up a modified microscope. Could you sit here for a bit? Anko nodded, before making her way towards the worktable and taking a seat next to it. Naruto placed the objective lens of his modified microscope onto one of the tomo of Anko's curse seal, scribbling down multiple notes on his notebook. Naruto analyzed the tomo and the skin under it, taking note of the seemingly altered skin and the lack of any hairs on it. So the mark changed the skin it's on, Naruto thought, not turning his eyes away from the microscope as he spoke up. You once told me that it spreads across your body when you use it, right? Naruto asked, receiving a nod from Anko. Now, this may be a little much and you can choose not to do it, but could you activate it only on your left arm? I know it sounds strange, but I believe if you focus, it will only spread on your left arm. With clear hesitation, Anko nodded, channeling her chakra across her left arm and through the curse seal. To her complete surprise, the curse mark only spread across her left arm. So that's how it works, Naruto thought, placing the microscope on a part of the newly spread curse seal, noting the altered structure of Anko's skin. You can deactivate it now. So, what have you concluded? Anko asked hurriedly, deactivating the cursed seal as she did. Well, believe it or not, Naruto replied, I believe it's a cellular thing. What? Anko asked in disbelief. Did you just make that up? Haku asked. No, that's my hypothesis for now, Naruto began to say. There's only one way to find out. Naruto picked up a needle, before piercing Anko's right shoulder and extracting parts of Anko's blood from it. Setting that sample aside, Naruto did the same to the back of the left side of her neck, where her curse seal resided, extracting another sample of blood from it. I'll take a look at it, Naruto replied. Haku-chan, you should go back to sleep. Anko-chan, you could stay the night, I suppose? Of course, I will, Anko replied. Haku-chan and I are gonna have the most wonderful time together. Wait, what? Haku began to ask, only for her to be dragged to her and Naruto's shared bed by Anko. Naruto sighed at his partner's antics, before turning back towards his worktable. Placing a drop of the blood sample obtained from Anko's right shoulder, Naruto analyzed the cells within the drop of blood, perfectly seeing the white blood cells as well as the red blood cells and the platelets spread among them in a smear. Jotting his results down on a piece of paper, Naruto turned to his second microscope, before placing his eyes on the lens to analyze the second sample of Anko's blood. What the? Naruto muttered under his breath. Closing one eye, Naruto could see the actual extent of the cursed seal's alterations on Anko's cells. Instead of the regular colorless state of the white blood cells that only his Sharingan allow him to see, the white blood cells from this particular sample of blood had been colored black, and while the red blood cells remained red, the platelets had been completely removed and replaced with another substance. Fascinating, Naruto thought, before raising an arm. Anko-chan, could you come here for a second? Anko came to Naruto's side, pressing her bare chest against Naruto's back. Yes? Anko asked. Could you place your finger onto this sample of blood and let your chakra flow through it? Naruto requested. Slightly confused, Anko placed her finger onto the blood sample, before releasing her chakra into it as the blonde had instructed. Naruto squinted, analyzing the movements of the cells he had predicted. To his surprise, the cells showed no change at all. Hold on, Naruto asked, lifting Anko's finger before dropping a drop of the other blood sample. Could you do it again? Anko nodded, as Naruto placed his eye back on the lens, right as Anko allowed her chakra to flow through the mixture of the blood samples. Naruto gasped, as the infected white blood cells began to infect and pollute the unaffected white blood cells before the platelets on the unaffected red blood cells began to blacken. Fascinating, Naruto muttered, you can stop now. Anko lifted her finger, cutting the flow of her chakra to the mixture of blood. Naruto looked on, as the altered white blood cells began to revert to a form of normalcy, and the devoured platelets began to reappear, with only the white blood cells from the affected sample of blood remaining blackened. I get it now, Naruto stated, lifting his head before turning to Anko. Why are you naked? Well, Anko began to explain, a blush clear on her face. Haku-chan and I were having some fun, then she passed out, and then you called me over here. This is a strange situation, Naruto muttered. Anyways, I found a scientific explanation for how the curse seal spreads. Going by the theory that every set of nuclei in the white blood cell is unique, the curse seal works somewhat like a symbiote, and it mutates to adapt to these nuclei in each set. And since every nucleus is identical to another, it spreads by temporarily bonding to those nuclei, with your chakra acting as a catalyst. So is there a method to get rid of it? Anko asked, her voice sounding resoundingly hopeful. Theoretically, yes. I'll need to alter the nuclei within every white blood cell in that section of your neck, Naruto explained. That should make it so that the curse seal rejects your body and recedes by itself, since I believe it feeds on your chakra, and it cannot do that if it doesn't bond to your nuclei. How are you going to do that? Anko asked. I have no clue, Naruto replied. As for now, I'll work on something else first. Before Naruto was able to stand up and turn to another project, Haku placed a hand over his mouth, before dragging him onto their bed. No, Naruto-kun, Haku began to say, you're gonna be joining us in certain activities. Not being able to resist these enticing proposals, Naruto allowed himself to be dragged to their bed, where Anko would leap on several seconds later. Hokage's office, hours later. With Anko and Haku still sleeping at his apartment, Naruto entered Hiruzen's office. Ah, Naruto, Hiruzen began to say, had a good rest? Didn't face much combat at Wave Country, Naruto replied, so I suppose you could say I did have a good rest. Right, you do realize that contradicts Kakashi's report, don't you? Hiruzen asked back. Well, can't say I went through much combat if you consider that I repeatedly dodged, can you? Naruto corrected himself, scratching the back of his head. In that regard, how would you describe the events that you all went through? Hiruzen asked. Just the bridge mission? Naruto asked back. Yes, just the bridge mission, Hiruzen confirmed. Well, Sakura still hates me, no surprise there, nor do I much care about it, but she did stick to the task and protect Tazuna at all times, even patching up Sasuke when he got injured, Naruto began to explain. On to Sasuke next. From what Haku-chan told me, he put up a decent fight against her before she used her ice mirrors, and then got beaten up pretty badly when Haku-chan used her mirrors. But I did hear that he activated his Sharingan in the fight. Interesting, and it does coincide with Kakashi's report, Hiruzen murmured. How well would you say you did? Alright, I suppose, Naruto replied. According to Kakashi's report, you defeated Haku and held your own against one of the 7 ninja swordsmen of the mist? Hiruzen mentioned. In what world is that just subpar? It's remarkable in terms of performance, and becomes downright impossible when you consider that you are a genin, while Zabuza held his own against Kakashi, and Haku is qualified to be Konoha's head of poison research. I just kept playing defensively, I suppose, Naruto replied, activating his Sharingan before pointing at them. I mainly used these, and I kept using the Iburi clan's ability to dodge. I beat Haku-chan that way, and now we're in this strange relationship. I see, Hiruzen muttered. Anyways, what brings you here today? I wanted to request a larger house to live in, Naruto requested, so I thought you could help out. I always could have, you just had to ask, Hiruzen replied, before standing up and walking towards the door. I'll take you around the district. Hours later, Hokage's office. Thank you, Hokage-sama, Naruto thanked, bowing slightly. Considering the things you've endured growing up, things that I could have done to improve it, Hiruzen began to say, it's the least I can do. Naruto nodded, before leaving the office. Walking for a bit, Naruto came upon 2 unusual figures in Konoha's streets near the entrance. The female was a girl with sandy blonde hair tied into 4 consecutive pigtails, one who wore a light purple garment that only exposed her shoulders. The male was a boy around Naruto's age, one who wore a baggy, black one-piece suit, while bearing purple makeup on his face. Fully contemptuous of leaving the 2 alone, these original ideas were quickly scraped in Naruto's mind the moment the blonde noticed the young boy being held by the collar by the foreign boy. Help me, Konohamaru pleaded. I don't know, Konohamaru, Naruto replied. How did you get into this position? I'll tell you, the foreigner yelled. This brat bumped into me. Kankuro, that's enough, the girl advised. I'll decide when it's enough, Temari, Kankuro replied. Did you bump into him, Konohamaru? Naruto asked. I did, Konohamaru admitted. But it was an accident. Whether or not it's an accident isn't important. What's important is that you apologize, Naruto advised. I'm sorry, Mr. Konohamaru apologized. That's not good enough now, is it? Kankuro asked, lifting Konohamaru into the air while clenching his open fist. Before Kankuro was able to land his punch, a scream could be heard. Kankuro turned to Temari, only to notice that his older sister had a scalpel pointed to her neck, the user of said scalpel being none other than Naruto. Temari! Kankuro yelled, dropping Konohamaru. Your move, Naruto stated, raising the scalpel to Temari's face. Would be a real shame for this pretty face to be sliced off, wouldn't it? You wouldn't dare! Kankuro warned, placing a hand on the wrapped-up puppet on his back. From my experience, he's a man of his word, came Sasuke's voice, as a rock was thrown onto the back of Kankuro's head. Naruto suddenly lifted his head, before flinging the scalpel towards a tree, plunging it into the trunk. What was that for? Sasuke asked. Naruto yelled, "Get out of the tree!" Sure enough, a red-headed boy with the kanji for love tattooed on his forehead exited the tree. "Kankuro, you're a disgrace to our village," the boy stated, as Kankuro paled. "My apologies, Gaara," Kankuro replied. "Be quiet," Gaara stated. "I truly despise the fact that you lost control of yourself in a quarrel with children. Do it again, and I'll murder you where you stand." Kankuro took a large audible gulp, before nodding profusely. "I apologize for the actions of my brother," Gaara said in a monotone manner. "My name is Gaara, and we're here to participate in the Chunin exams." "Naruto Uzumaki," Naruto identified himself. "Sasuke Uchiha," Sasuke did the same. "Kankuro, Temari, we're leaving," Gaara stated, getting nods from both of his siblings. As Kankuro and Temari left, Gaara stood in his place, staring at both Sasuke and Naruto. "You two are intriguing. The two of you hold the blood of the strong mother yearns for your blood." Alright," Naruto replied. "I mean, if you wanted to, I could get you a blood sample. I have plenty of those. After all, the human body does contain about 1 to 1.5 gallons of blood. I don't think we would mind sparing some of it." "What are you on about?" Gaara asked. "I was just commenting on the biological implications of you wanting our blood. I don't even know why you want it," Naruto replied. "It's not that great, and better yet, you could just cut us, and you can get our blood. Just make sure to not cut any veins or arteries." Even when faced with someone who seems completely psychotic, Sasuke began to think as Naruto continued his explanation. "Naruto still reminds me why I consider him the creepiest person I know." Hokage's office, 1 hour before arrival of Sand siblings. "I suppose you all understand the nature of this meeting?" Hiruzen asked, looking at the 4 jonin standing in his office. "The Chunin exams?" Kakashi asked. "Precisely," Hiruzen replied. "The next Chunin exams to be held here in Konoha will be a joint Chunin exams between many villages, Suna amongst them. I would like to know if the 4 of you would like to register any of your teams?" "My team already missed last year's Chunin exams," Guy began to say. "They are most definitely ready for this Chunin exams." "I understand," Hiruzen replied. "What about you 3? "Team 7 is ready," Kakashi replied, not lifting his eyes from his book, shocking his contemporaries in the room with him. "Are you sure?" Asuma asked. "Doesn't your team contain that one weird kid who doesn't have any friends?" "I also hear that Kiba is more creeped out by one Naruto Uzumaki than Hinata," Kurenai continued, "that one teammate who keeps threatening to castrate him. That being said, however, the polyamorous relationship he is involved with is strange, as is Hinata's seeming interest in him." "Well, I wouldn't say that Naruto doesn't have any friends. He gets along alright with Sasuke and is in a romantic relationship with Enko and Haku simultaneously, the latter of which is also in a relationship with Enko," Kakashi began to say, surprising the other 2 jonin. "His relationship with Sakura is a pile of hot shit, to put it simply. But then again, I'm sure he would be able to put up somewhat of a fight against the other genin in his graduating class." "If you're so certain, Kakashi," Hiruzen began to say, "then Team 7 will be allowed to participate, should all members agree to it. What about Team 8 and Team 10? "I would be lying if I said Kiba and Hinata are not itching for a fight." "Team 8 is ready," Kurenai stated. "Team 10 is ready for anything," Asuma declared. "Very well," Hiruzen replied, handing out registration forms to each jonin. "Hand these to your genin to fill in, if they wish to." "Would anyone like a wager?" Asuma asked. 100 ryo for each genin." 100 that both Sasuke and Naruto reach the semifinals," Kakashi stated. "For me, I'll put 100 that Shikamaru reaches the semifinals," Asuma replied. 100 that Hinata makes it," Kurenai replied. "Kiba's arrogance will probably cause him to mess up somewhere." "I'll put 100 on both Lee and Niji," Guy stated. "It's settled then," Kakashi stated, snapping his book shut. "We'll see who wins during the semifinals." Finishing the conversation, the 4 jonin disappeared from the room, leaving Hiruzen alone. "Well, if I were to place a wager," Hiruzen began to mutter, "I'd say that if he honed his skills, with combat as his main motivation, Naruto would probably beat everyone in the exams." After the confrontation with the Sand siblings. "What are you on about?" Gaara asked. "I was just commenting on the biological implications of you wanting our blood. I don't even know why you want it," Naruto replied. "It's not that great, and better yet, you could just cut us, and you can get our blood. Just make sure to not cut any veins or arteries." Even when faced with someone who seems completely psychotic, Sasuke began to think as Naruto continued his explanation. "Naruto still reminds me why I consider him the creepiest person I know." Gaara held up his hand, halting Naruto's lengthy explanation. Enough, Gaara stated, no matter what you preach now, Mother will have your blood soon enough. Finishing his statement, the red-headed shinobi turned to leave, leaving Naruto and Sasuke standing at the village square. Kakashi-sensei wanted to talk to us, Sasuke stated. He and Sakura are waiting at Training Ground 7. For the Chunin exams? Naruto asked. Probably, Sasuke replied. Wouldn't be surprised if he just wanted to mess with us. Sounds probable, Naruto replied, before heading towards the training ground alongside Sasuke. Training Ground 7. Upon his and Sasuke's arrival at the training ground, Naruto immediately noticed an uncharacteristically patiently waiting Sakura, while Kakashi continued the reading of his orange book. Upon noticing the arrival of the other two genin on his team, Kakashi immediately snapped his book shut, before turning towards the two. Had a nice break, Naruto? Kakashi asked. It was an alright one, although, why did you exaggerate my feats in your report? Naruto asked. Why did you downplay yours? Kakashi asked back. That's not the point now. Kakashi began to change the topic, pulling out 3 pieces of paper from his pocket before handing them to each of his genin. These are forms for the Chunin exams, as you could probably tell. The 3 genin stared at the forms for a few seconds before turning back to Kakashi. Again, you do not necessarily have to join the exams, Kakashi muttered. I'll leave the choice to you 3. If you do choose to join, however, the registrations and the first stage of the exams will both be held at the academy. Finishing his statement, Kakashi disappeared in a whirl of leaves, leaving behind the 3 genin. You in? Sasuke asked, turning to Naruto. Why not? Naruto replied. Got nothing better to do. I may be able to run some tests on the way. What about you? Sasuke asked, turning towards Sakura. Well, I'm not too sure, Sakura replied, uncertainty in her voice. If you don't want to, Naruto began to say, you could sit it out, Sasuke, and I will just go ahead. Getting an idea from this, Sasuke spoke up. Couldn't you just get Haku to fill in Sakura's place? Sasuke asked. I'll go, Sakura determined, before turning to leave. I'll go get ready now. I'm surprised that worked, Sasuke stated. You'll be surprised about the applications of pressure in regards to psychology, Naruto replied. Anyways, I have something to tell you. And when I tell you this, you have to promise to not get pissed off by the fact, the meaning of the fact, or the fact that I've kept the fact from you. Go ahead, Sasuke stated, as if already knowing Naruto's big reveal. I possess, amongst other bloodlines, the Uchiha clan's bloodline, Naruto replied, the Sharingan. I know, Sasuke replied, surprising Naruto. How? Naruto asked back. Based on how you dodged Haku's Saban with such ease, Sasuke replied, I figured it was a good guess. Figures, Naruto replied, have you unlocked them? Of course I have, Sasuke stated, activating his Sharingan, each with 2 Tomo within them. I see, Naruto replied, revealing his pair of Sharingan. You have no chakra fatigue, don't you? No, I do not, Sasuke replied. Why are you telling me this now? You wanted a spar, didn't you? Naruto asked. I do, Sasuke replied, slipping into a stance. Any general rules? Naruto asked, slipping into his stance. No chemicals, no other bloodlines, Sasuke stated. Everything else is fair game. No problem, Naruto replied. Without further warning, Sasuke dashed towards Naruto, the latter immediately dodging a kick from the former, only to have to intercept a follow-up punch from Sasuke. Not wanting to allow any time for Naruto to recover and reorganize, Sasuke ducked to the ground, attempting to sweep the ground from his feet onto his back, only for Naruto to leap up into the air. With a new position gained by the blonde, Naruto flipped through his hand seals, before inhaling a large amount of air. Seeing this, Sasuke did the same, forming the same seals and filling his mouth with air. Seconds after, a large flame engulfed the training ground as 2 massive fireballs clashed against each other, both originating from Naruto and Sasuke respectively. Suddenly, Naruto ducked into the fireball, surprising Sasuke. What just happened? Sasuke thought, as the fireballs faded. Before long, the activation of several smoke bombs could be heard, obscuring Sasuke's field of vision. Now completely hidden by the smoke, Naruto emerged suddenly, kicking Sasuke in the face before disappearing into the smoke again. Sasuke looked around, stunned that his opponent was able to navigate the smoke, only to be cut out of his thoughts by a punch from Naruto. After many sneak attacks, Naruto reappeared in front of the confused Sasuke, a scalpel pointed at the Uchiha's neck, just as the smoke surrounding the two faded. Surrender? Naruto asked, to which Sasuke responded with a nod. With a weapon that's sharper than a kunai pointed to my throat, Sasuke began to say as the two deactivated their Sharingan, what other choice do I have besides surrendering? Fair point, Naruto replied, lowering his scalpel before storing it in the pocket of his coat. I have to run now, I need to move my stuff to a larger house. Sasuke nodded, as Naruto's body faded into smoke. Naruto's apartment. Reconstituting his body in his apartment, Naruto was surprised upon noticing a sleeping Haku, with the disappearance of Anko not going unnoticed either. Determining that Anko had to tend to her duties as a proctor of the upcoming Chunin exams, Naruto walked towards Haku, who had not been interrupted in her sleep by the slightest of margins. Softly laughing to himself, Naruto placed a hand on her cheek, before placing a soft kiss on her forehead. Uh-huh? Haku murmured groggily, opening her eyes slowly to look at Naruto. Is it morning already? Funnily enough, it's the evening, Naruto replied. I've been asleep for that long? Haku asked in sheer surprise. Yeah, I found it quite amusing, Naruto replied. I found the experiences that had led to this long nap rather stimulating, Haku muttered. I suppose you're not wrong, Naruto replied, catching a suddenly appearing kunai by its blade, drawing blood immediately. And it seems we have company. That's what you're worried about? Haku asked, worried about Naruto's freshly opened wound. Right now, Naruto began to say, sniffing the air around him, I'm more worried about whoever has managed to barge in. As if on cue, a hooded figure leaped out of the shadows in front of Naruto and Haku, before removing their hood, revealing the familiar face of one Hinata Hyuga, whose long, purple hair flowed upon the removal of the hood, with the girl's white Byakugan glaring at Haku. Hello there, Naruto-kun, Hinata stated. Okay, I have several questions, Naruto began to say. First, what are you doing here? I am here to profess my undying and everlasting love to you, Naruto-kun, Hinata continued to say. I think we have only had one shared conversation, Naruto replied. That doesn't matter, Hinata continued, our love is destined to prosper. Like I said before, Naruto began to say, I don't know you well. As if you knew me very well, Haku whispered. You're not helping the case, Naruto whispered back. She's not exactly wrong, Naruto-kun, Kurama mentioned. Not you too, Naruto mentally responded. Regardless, Naruto-kun, Hinata began to say, pulling out a kunai, I'll be needing to rid that whore from your bed. Without any further warning, Hinata dashed towards Haku, only for Naruto to stand between the two, grabbing onto her wrist to prevent any action from the Hyuga. Undeterred, Hinata pushed forwards. I have no grudge you, Naruto-kun, Hinata began to say, landing a strike onto Naruto's right shoulder, disabling its usage, so please step aside, I would hate for you to get injured in the crossfire. Could you please stop? Naruto asked, grabbing onto Hinata's wrist with his left hand. Why do you even love me anyway? I've only ever talked to you once before today, how did you even find my apartment? Also, why do you have no scent? I have my ways, Hinata stated with a grin, dodging a saban from Haku. As for my love for you, isn't it clear by now, Naruto-kun? You are the perfect partner for me to produce the most suitable heir for our families. How did you know? Naruto began to say, narrowing his eyes. Who the hell told you? I read quite a lot if you must know, Hinata stated, now step aside. I am not letting you kill Haku-chan, Naruto stated. If you love me so damn much, heed my request. And what do I gain if I don't kill her? Hinata asked, will you love me back? I mean, Naruto continued to say, Haku-chan and Anko-chan are both sharing me at the moment. As if I would share with some lowly beings, Hinata finished, placing the hood back over her face. You have until the end of the Chunin exams to make your decision. Finishing her statement, Hinata disappeared from the apartment, leaving Naruto and Haku alone in their apartment. We need to move, Naruto stated. You have a place in mind? Haku asked. I do, Naruto replied. Get dressed, pack your things, we'll be leaving soon. Right, Haku replied, standing up and moving towards the bathroom. Naruto's new home, late at night. This is the new place? Haku asked. Yep, Naruto replied, opening the door, looking around the streets before letting Haku in, locking the door behind her as she did. My apologies, I don't want any potential stalkers to know where I live. Couldn't the Byakugan just see through the walls? Haku asked again. It could, Naruto responded, placing his lab equipment on his new worktable, but unless she knows specifically what kind of house she's looking for, Hinata won't be able to find us. There would be no drive for her to look through several houses. Well, judging by her near-psychotic obsession with you, Haku began to say as she and Naruto walked into their new room, it seems like there is quite a reason for her to look across every house one by one. Fair enough, Naruto admitted before turning to face Haku, who had already tucked herself into their bed. You're gonna just go back to sleep? Well, you did interrupt me earlier, Haku pouted. Shouldn't you get some sleep as well? Aren't you participating in the Chunin exams tomorrow? Unfortunately, not yet, Naruto replied. There's a certain experiment I would like to attempt. Just try not to blow up our new house, Haku yawned, turning around and pressing her head against the pillow, and just come to sleep early. You've got it, Naruto replied, before leaving the room. Hours later, Haku slowly walked down the stairs of her and Naruto's new home, coming upon the sight of a completely focused Naruto, one who placed a cable into a strange mixture of substances, chief amongst them being dry ice. You might want to stand back for this one, Naruto requested, a request which Haku obliged. To Haku's amazement, upon Naruto's turning on of the power cell which had been connected to the wire, the dry ice mixture began to combust and spark, before completely exploding, shattering the test tube which had housed it into a million pieces of broken glass. What just happened? Haku asked, standing back up from her recovery from the shock. I think, Naruto began to say, removing the safety goggles from his eyes and looking at the absence of the dry ice. I think I just accomplished the impossible. Well, that's interesting, Haku admitted, before pulling on Naruto's sleeve. Now go to bed, or I'll tell Enko you've been up late on the night before your exams. Heeding this threat, Naruto obliged, following Haku to their shared bedroom. Shinobi Academy. With a few minutes left to spare, Haku accompanied Naruto to the venue of the Chunin exam's first stage, the Shinobi Academy, where Naruto and his graduating class had studied for the prior few years, with Enko having already arrived hours earlier for the preparation of her role in the exams. You're about to be late, Naruto-kun, Haku berated, slightly panting from the running she and Naruto had done prior. I mean, if you didn't just keep clinging onto me parasitically this morning, and if you didn't insist on constantly having me in bed while you kissed me over and over again, I would probably have arrived here quite early. Hell, Enko-chan is already here. Are you what? Haku began to attempt to argue back as her brain seemingly failed to function. Shut up. Naruto extended his hand, before pinching Haku on the cheek, causing her to blush slightly, only for the slight tint of red on her face to expand to a complete flush of crimson when Naruto tiptoed to pet Haku on top of her head, garnering many jealous stares directed at the both of them. There, Haku-chan, Naruto began to say, before kissing the ice user on her forehead, causing Haku to nearly faint out of embarrassment. It's alright, I rather enjoyed that. Completely flustered, Haku was only able to nod furiously, before walking in with Naruto. I'll need to go find Enko-chan. Naruto began to ask as he stared ahead into the crowded academy, before shifting his vision towards two Chunin disguised as genin at the door. Why's that? I volunteered to be Enko-chan's assistant. See you later, Haku replied, giving Naruto a quick peck on his cheek before running off. That's kinda unexpected, Naruto thought, before walking into the building, phasing through the Chunin at the doors to look for his teammates. Now where would they be? Having since turned his back, however, Naruto had missed the bewildered reactions plastered on the faces of the two Chunin at the doors, seeming to both be trapped in a trance induced by a mixture of confusion and shock. Naruto had not noticed this, merely brushing past the crowds of anxious genin to attempt to locate Sasuke and Sakura. Suddenly, a green shadow brushed past Naruto, with the blonde having to slightly bend backwards for it to brush past. Naruto stared at the newly created crater as the figure began to stand to his feet. As the dust settled, Naruto was able to see a boy with a bowl cut while sporting a full-body green jumpsuit and orange leg warmers. Sorry about that, the boy apologized, before running off into the crowd. This day could not possibly get stranger, Naruto murmured, before deciding to follow the boy. Following the boy through the crowd to a more open area in the academy, Naruto would also manage to find Sasuke and Sakura there as well, with a bruise present on Sasuke's face. Within seconds, Naruto would put the pieces together, before leaping in front of Sasuke and intercepting a blow from the boy with the bowl cut, shocking everyone present. Naruto? Sasuke asked in confusion, clearly not expecting Naruto to appear so suddenly. You're late, you idiot, Sakura reprimanded. Just shut up and explain, Naruto replied, allowing the boy in front of him to place his foot on the ground. What's going on here? I challenged your teammate here to a fight, not to be rude in any way, but could you please step aside and allow us to finish? The boy asked. Just a second, Naruto replied, before turning around to face Sasuke. Why'd you accept the fight? Wanted a warm-up also, he said that he was the strongest genin here, Sasuke replied. Carry on then, Naruto replied, before leaping backward to allow Sasuke and the boys' clash to continue. Subconsciously, Naruto activated his Sharingan, staying at a specific position to ensure no one would notice. Carry on, but I do intend to learn a thing or two, the blonde thought as he watched the duel. Now having Naruto's supposed approval, something he hadn't even known he required for any form of action, Sasuke continued his fight with the boy, watching as the boy dashed towards him with a somewhat linear movement. I see this guy moves fast but his movements are predictable, Naruto thought, observing as much as possible. He's one of the students of that taijutsu specialist, no doubt about it. Therefore, I can assume that he's a hard hitter too, which would mean that Sasuke could see the hit coming, but can't do anything about it. Per Naruto's hypothesis, Sasuke reacted to the boy's movements, only for the raven-haired boy to not be fast enough and to be knocked up into the air by a powerful kick, proving Naruto's theory correct. Continuing to amaze the blonde, the boy would leap up behind Sasuke, beginning to seemingly wrap a set of bandages around the last Uchiha. It may be time to intervene, Naruto thought, readying himself for any action, before stopping short. But then again, I'm sure Sasuke can survive this. I doubt your friend can survive such a drop, especially because I'm sure the boy behind him is going to exponentially increase the force of the drop, Kurama stated with a chuckle. Now's not the time, Kurama-chan, Naruto mentally replied. Ah, but you haven't been in here to cuddle me in weeks, Kurama replied, pouting within Naruto's mindscape. I will be in soon enough, Kurama-chan, just wait till I'm done with the first exam. Naruto attempted to assure Kurama, only for the latter to pull him into his mindscape. Naruto's mindscape. Naruto felt himself get pulled into his mindscape by Kurama, before getting thrown down onto the ground of the forest-like interior of his mindscape. The blonde attempted to rub the back of his head, only to find his movements restrained by what had appeared to be chakra chains. Before long, Kurama came down onto Naruto, placing a soft hand upon the blonde's chest. No, I'm afraid that's just not good enough anymore, Naruto-kun, Kurama stated with a cheeky smirk. Now's not the time, Kurama-chan, Naruto replied, I'm about to have an exam. I don't have enough time to ensure your satisfaction. Kurama would cut Naruto off with a passionate kiss, before pulling away and standing over him, staring deep into the blonde's eyes. Oh, my, getting feisty now are we, Naruto-kun? I never suggested that I wanted to do anything of that sort with you, at least, not right now. I merely want to cuddle with the one I love. Is there anything wrong with that? Huh. No, it's just, Naruto began to say, only to be cut off. Oh, I see how it is, Kurama began to say, unbinding Naruto and turning her back on the blonde. You just don't love me as much anymore, do you? No, that's not what the problem is, Naruto tried to interject, only to be cut off. It's fine, Naruto-kun, Kurama began to say again in a sad tone. I see what it is now. You prefer Enko-chan and Haku-chan over me. I get it, it's because they're much younger, aren't they? It's fine, Naruto-kun, I'm sorry I'm not able to show my love as much as them. Naruto sighed, not saying anything as he walked up behind Kurama before trapping her in a tight hug. There's no need to apologize for anything, Kurama-chan, Naruto assured, gently kissing the crook of her neck. If anything, I should be apologizing. I've been neglecting you far too much lately. HMPF, Kurama replied with a pout, at least you're acknowledging it. Let's spend some time together, Naruto offered, sitting down with his arms still wrapped around Kurama. About damn time, Kurama replied, cuddling into the blonde's chest. About 10 minutes later. As much as I'd hate to say it, Kurama began to say, getting off of Naruto's chest, I believe it is time for your departure back into the real world. Alright then, Naruto replied, kissing Kurama on the forehead before retreating into reality. Real world.